system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system. Here's the truth about the system that'll the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. The truth about the mind that'll fuck up your mind. That'll fuck up your the truth about that'll fuck up your truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind. Here's the truth about the system that'll
warning, 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 warning.
Truth about it, that'll fuck up your the truth about it, that'll fuck up your truth about it, that'll fuck up your truth about the system that'll fuck up your mind.
Warning, 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 warning.
Truth about the system that'll
so Earth-like that many call it Earth 2.
Ultraviolence is what I adjust. Future phenomena, you need to try it once. Cyberpunk, Megadel, ultraviolence is what I adjust. Future phenomena, you need to try it once. Megadel, cyberpunk technology such as cyberbots. Check the rhymes, I concoct private stock. While you jock, I set up ultra security for MC intelligence who wanna murder me. It's like the third degree the way I question my sanity. I work on cybernetics as a form of vanity. To protect my circuitry, I stay under the canopy. I sent for special chips to finish my fantasy. To become a bionic commando, monitor scandals, solar panels reflect, energy enters me. Empty synergy in the 21st century, soldering temporary leads. Fusible alloys like musical cowboys, strictly bomb raps, capable of alien contact. With bomb packs, create galactic soundtracks. Profound facts that were classified info for several decades by the CIA are now pedal death codes on the internet. The sinner's flesh. I spoke a pin or a bless and can't remember next. Transmission control. You better listen to your soul when the carbon-based creatures connect with technology. Brand new species devoid of ecology. Totally electronic, they monitor and follow me. Cyberpunks, Megadel, ultraviolence is what I adjust. Future phenomena, you need to try it once. Cyberpunks, Megadel, ultraviolence is what I adjust. Future phenomena, you need to try it once. And the microchip is missing. Oh my god. 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 Escape the cold flu, still down with kung fu. Back then they hung you, but now they fund you. I touch the escape key, a blue light envelops me, covers me with energy and sucks me in the screen. I met Tron, he said don't let on about the cyber universe, cause you the first human to discover us. Neon lasers, colorful photons, I felt like Voltron, my hands turned to silver, probably would have killed ya. I just lost my sanity. My brain was enhanced with super intelligence. True to the elements, bestowed with a charge beam. Victory was our theme. Pack more silicon than sardines. Transform into a plane like Starscream. Cyberpunk rocking the mic with auto targeting. Fifth element, the strength of 6 elephants. It was miraculous the way they patched me in. Equipped with electric grenades, testing my phaser. I melted some glaciers. Wow, this is great stuff. Power with voltage, a technophile armed with explosives. Missiles, a crystallizer to freeze them seas and then shatter them with super bass. Sits around, relentless pound, hits the ground like an asteroid. A metal behemoth, more than you could dream of. A Marvel team up of both sides of the brain. Transmuted to my physical form to ride the train. My eyes had a neon green glow. I seen foes. Instruments of destruction meant for hunting. Cyberpunks, Megadel, ultraviolence is when I adjust. Future phenomena, you need to try it once. Cyberpunks, Megadel, ultraviolence is when I adjust. Future phenomena, you need to try it once. Controlling cyberspace like a girl's private place. With a chastity belt, I has to be felt. Futuristic crucifixion, superdiction. With computer victims terminated due to symptoms from viruses. Sophisticated and bizarre, enthralling. I even serve smart drinks at the bar. Bonsai, mechanical tentacles hard-tied. The small fry who tried to hog the mic. You saw the light, took all the stripes. Stop the spine thieves that I perceive when my optics turn lime green. In this industrial environment, there's certain requirements. The mental training that helps you see the Leviathan. I'm piloting a giant mecha in my private sector. My invisible force fields of core shields. The inner sanctum, better do the interface. Master programmers create aircraft that look like dinner plates. The Zen tried, he mobbed me. I did a concert on their planet for 5Gs. Space, the last frontier. Enough to make you pass on beer, weed, hallucinogenics, or speed. Cyberpunks, Megadel, ultraviolence is what I adjust. Future phenomena, you need to try it once. Cyberpunks, Megadel, ultraviolence is what I adjust. Future phenomena, you need to try it once.
Texas Ghost, the coming of Doomsday. What we say, UK, something kinda tragic. Let him have it, let him have it. Yo, dragging dusty daggers across your chest, you mark for death. The machine of conquest, every tongue should confess. Divided with violent tendencies, the tortured author. Flying saucer transformer, bearer of disorder. In my paranormal form that day, I cracked your vertebrae. Careful with the words you say, the coming of Doomsday. A passionate and poignant epic voyage, bombs deployed. The schizoid mind you avoid, now destroyed. A gambling man in a place once kept safe. The wailing woman awakes with a gun to embrace. Planes crashing, sword swinging, drunken assassin. Albatross in the tiger shards lock, still thrashing. Smack you whack rappers backwards, desperately depressing me. Flow so heavily, oh now, how you mention thee. Cobra venom, weapon therapy, bury enemy. Bullets sent to me, strike back out with no discrepancy. The purest energy, hologram was never there. Hidden prophecy soon revealed, stay trapped in my glare. No air in the underground lair where we slumber. Beware of nightmares that float by and drag you under. So bring all your wishes to me and I'll dismiss them one by one. Throw body bags off the cliff after I kiss them, loud bumps. Torn and twisted body lumps in solid mud. Squeezing rats in my palm is how I settle love.
Watching wolves pecking my flesh, the face of the amulet. Haunted woodland, disfigured just like the woodsman. Drag a pickaxe, skin sacks, bones collapse. Facts opposites attract. Bridge snap, ribs crack. In the shadows we fade to black. Perpetrate, imitate, initiate, lock on, detonate, eliminate. Zombie pharaoh, tarot bathing in flaming arrows. On the brink of the everlasting. Time is passing, pain, it remains the same. Barely tamed, the hand that came out the drain. For a friend, I wouldn't warn you again. Sword won't bend, the beast that came out my pen. Purple sunset, doom like a blood red moon. Secret room, you will find me inside the tomb. Gas chamber maker, barren landscape, mind state navigator. Storm activator, I was spawned from a dark nature. Overrun with the thoughts of madmen. Who would have them? Past the priest, I drag them. You're abandoned, tongue kiss a loaded magnum. Seek and destroy the target, is never random. Close the fly trap, perched on the point of a nice cat. Time lapse, bunker buster cluster. In the suitcase, body of a dead butler. Fed the duster, you've heard of the mad long ghost. Bracken dance, straight out the ground we roast. Tested stricken, art of the beast mimic. This the earth style, 4-pillar wood prison.
It's Doomsday. It's Doomsday. It's Doomsday. It's Doomsday. 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 Doomsday.
Shaheen, isometric concepts, pain, yeah. The ghost of Big L paid me a visit last night. I brought the pain with me and my eye turned white. We can handle this shit like some rappers on the mic or gunfight, whichever you like, doesn't make me a difference. You dealing with a nigga really in the trenches. I kill a king, fuck the queen and kidnap the princess. Take all of his riches, the Fortune 500, then feed the unfortunate.
Welcome to the Machine Lives, where we talk about the lies of the machine on the machine that lies. Yeah, we're continuing a little bit of a discussion here on this idea, this concept that I've been talking about. I've done, 8 or 9 hours on this word technology, right? What it means, right? What are its implications, right? How do we define technique? How do we define technology, right? And how do what place do we exactly put it in terms of human nature? So I've been forced to discuss its relation to human society, right? Its relation to science, right? And the progress of science, uh, okay, and technology, right? So you could look at it in terms of history, right? You could look at the history of technique, right? So we're gonna go ahead and you know what I mean, open up this type of exploration of themes, right? So you know, o- one of the things that we quickly did was we distinguished science from technique, and technique um from this whole idea of the machine, right? So when we're talking about machines, right, we're talking about technology. You know what I mean, right? And we're not exactly talking about you know the whole you know way we formulate methods and means, right? So this whole idea that he came out with last time, right, that technique creates means, right? So this idea of sublimation of means to a particular end in framing, right? Okay, right. So there's this whole idea that technology gives you a result, right? But you don't know how you get the result. Actually, the more complete a technique is, the less defined, right, it is, right? The way the means or processes lead to the end result, right? And that's why you have that famous line: any sufficiently developed technology is indistinguishable from magic, right? Now we're gonna go to the history of technique, because it seems that Alua also defines magic as primitive technique, right?
So
Because all
hang on
the,
a second. So the way you're
yeah,
referencing the word technique
actually,
is
actually,
basically like
yeah, actually,
methodology.
yeah. Hold on, DK. Give me a second, real quick. Yeah, I'd like to welcome Reddington and Hank and DK. Welcome, guys. Blessings, man.
Yeah, cheers, man.
Yo,
Thanks for
Yep.
having us on again.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but what you saying, DK?
So the way you're referencing the word technique is basically like methodology. So it's a larger scale rather than a single point of focus where where something's
Exactly.
developed just for that purpose. It's an end sort of goal that's quite expansive, and as many things as possible get developed, and some work and some don't along the way to achieve that overall goal.
Yeah. And the reason we have technique in the first place is to abstract over people and material, because it's not, people aren't highly available. You can't get
Yeah,
your
that's
guy to do everything,
yeah,
because
that's especially right. Yeah, that's especially right, Hank. Exactly. It compresses time um and effort, right? And that's why, for example, I was talking about social techniques, right? You don't have to make complex laws and rules and enforce them if you just promote propaganda and social techniques. I mean, right? They actually work like a charm, right?
Yeah.
90% of the work is done just by programming people, right? With like news stories and like memes and all that type of stuff, and right. So
Seeing as it's like
100%.
seeing as it's legal to now propagandize American people by America, Yeah, you've been in trouble since Barack Obama passed that in 2016. He's
Oh
been
no, we've been in trouble
legally,
way
the
before then.
government has been allowed to propagandize its own citizens. It was illegal to do until he passed that law in 2016.
Yeah, and if you believe they weren't doing it beforehand, then you're kidding yourself.
No, the media was always doing it, but now it's
Exactly.
like they're
They
only
never
being
enforced
allowed
it.
to propagandize.
Exactly, Reddington. They didn't enforce it, and they just said, okay, we're going to sue us. We just say it's illegal now, so it's legal. So there you go. That's how law works.
Yep, that's correct. Actually, you could look at it as a chicken and the egg type of issue, right? Because, in a lot of ways, the medium is the message, right? So if you can, condition people to receive information in a certain way, well, you could program them to think in a certain way as well. So the fact is that, you know, we've all been conditioned to receive information, right, through particular means, right? And that means that you know it's not just the information itself, but it's the way we communicate that's being altered, right? So what I mean, we shape tools that we use, right? But the tools we use shape us, right? So it's a double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
And to quote, the idea, about this whole concept from the Jizza album, right? From the Wu-Tang Clan, right? He says liquid swords, right? Is the album, right? So the whole concept is about, the tongue being a liquid sword. And right, because the speech, the pen is mightier than the sword.
And
Right?
fluidity.
Yeah,
Being able
exactly.
to flow.
Fluidity.
Yeah.
Yeah, fluidity can overcome hardness, right?
Yeah.
So the fact is that the liquid sword, right, is the one that strikes the hardest, right? So the fact is that, right, if you want to build a powerful weapon, right, then the more, you know what I mean, you're able to encode, you know what I mean, the dangerous elements within the method that it uses to strike the opponent. All right, the technique it uses to strike, right? The more hidden and more subtle and more dangerous, you know what I mean, and more complete the final technique is that it employs, right? And the means why that it uses to employ, the swifter they are, right? The more dangerous the technique is going to be, right? So the fact is that, the words are the worst type of weapon because, you know what I mean, right? The whole, um, danger of a weapon is in the technique. It's not in the, wielder, right? It's
Yeah,
in the
it's
It's also
tank,
not the
right?
gun, it's the person holding the gun that's a threat.
yeah, it's also in the lasting effect.
Heck,
See, a lot of physical wounds will heal, but if you say something that people can't unhear, that is a long lasting attack. That is why words are weapons. Once heard, they can't be unheard. You can try and disprove them, but once you've heard them, they are forever in your head.
yeah,
No,
yeah.
not exactly. We got technology for that.
Unless you have dementia, maybe.
Oh yeah, there is that. Yeah, let's not
Well,
forget about that.
I think DK makes an important point. I mean, right, is the fact that, you know what I mean, right? You can't unwatch an ad. I mean, right? You can't unsee, you know what I mean, some of this shit, right? So the
Yeah,
fact is that, you know, right, once it hits you, you know, right, it's hit you. The damage has been done, right? So,
yep.
you know, right, for a lot
Yes.
of these, yes, yes. So for a lot of these forms of programming, right, the point is not for you to logically correspond, right, or accept or deny what's being put on the screen, right?
Yes. You can't unwatch an app, but you can totally block it with uBlock Origin. And Dr. Richard Stallman's completely advocates that you be very careful about what tools you pick because
Really?
a lot of times your tools can betray you. Like they'll
Oh,
they'll
okay.
leak, like they can
Yeah,
leak
that's
information
it's like
to
yeah, it'll be
people
like
you don't want.
following certain podcasts or something. Just because they're a famous name doesn't mean everything they're saying is true and correct.
Yeah, if you pick the wrong tools, they'll spy on you. They'll give faraway megacorps information you don't want them to have. What I do is I'll lie. I'll find the tools and lie to them. I would say a whole bunch of BS to them, so they don't get upset that they're not getting any information, but they also have the wrong information.
Yeah, exactly. Weapons of reality determination. Word. You know what I'm saying, right? Yeah, alchemy. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
You know,
Talk
right?
no Jutsu is Genjutsu.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Fluidity overcomes hard dicks. Exactly. You know, right? I mean, that's exactly
Yeah,
what the point. Right?
you just got to become a master of tung fu.
Yeah, exactly. Right. All right. Lizard tree blessings. Yeah, um, let's see who else is out here. Damn, John Wayne spamming out here. What the fuck is this? The
Oh yeah,
entire chat is just
big
John Wayne
funny.
character.
He stopped. He stopped.
I commented back to that comment. Like to his wee his wee spiel.
Yeah, he's pretty funny. Yeah, where the Browns boy. Yeah, blessings. Yeah, thank you so much, Browns boy, man. I mean, yeah, exactly, John Wayne. TML. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Let's see this. Yeah, blessings, Dominic. Thank you for being here. I mean, um. Oh man, there's a lot of comments here. Actually, I mean,
Yeah, I know there is a. I'm watching it on my other
holy
screen.
smokes.
Oh yeah, you're
Okay.
getting streamed on D Live again too, man.
Awesome.
Yeah, let's do this on D Live. Yeah, exactly. All fun and games till yeah, till the third eye gets poked. Yeah, that's right.
That's why they put fluoride in your water.
Yeah,
Yep.
hands off my pineal.
Maybe we
Yep.
can have an astral sad
Calcifies it.
trombone.
Yeah, it calcifies your pineal gland. That's pineal gland. That's
Yeah,
why
you
they
got
actually put the fluoride
Yeah,
into the water.
but
That
yeah,
way,
you
well,
got
you
I
can
actually
actually be
decided
awake and think.
I actually decided to just drink the tap water because a lot of people advocating that says they don't do it are crazier than I am. They're not making any sense.
yeah.
I
Oh,
No, I
said
get
Hank.
I just drink it.
no,
You cracked me up, Hank.
I get Kangen water off a mate who's got a Kangen machine. He gives me a couple of like 5 liter bottles each week. So I actually have Kangen water to drink. So I don't actually touch tap water. It's beer and Kangen water, and that's it. And it's set to a pH of either 9 or 9.5. So it's quite alkaline, and it's supposed to like de-acidify your body and shit.
Yes, but I'm the one who's sober and still working.
I work part time.
I technically work part time, but last week I clocked in 54 hours. So
Yeah,
That's all right.
blessings. Yeah. And yeah,
You
thank you.
hustling, son.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, thank you, Bob Smith, for being here. Thank you, Look Within, for being here. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm whatever you want to make me. I'm saying, right. That's how it is. Yeah, Lizard Tree, blessings. Yeah, Saturday presentation. You know what I mean? A few people said it was off the chain. Let's see. We got Joe Mills. Yeah, blessings. Hi. If you remember the method I explained, trace, release, subdivide into some categories: one, person; two, video release; three, language, text; four, mention, spoken, each AI variants. Yeah, that's gonna come closer to the types of technique as well. There's actually greater styles of technique. Once you see that, there's political techniques, obviously political and social techniques, right? There's techniques that govern economic systems, right? There's scientific techniques and methods, so you see that, there's different types of technical aspects, right? So technique is an aspect of different forms of discipline. So it is actually, you know, um, as we say, there's an architectonic aspect to, various, to the formulation of the various arts and sciences, right? So, you know what I mean? So it's technique that governs economics, it's technique that governs culture, it's technique that governs political systems in our modern age, right? And that's why we're, you know, getting into this idea, right? And he says, obviously, all embracing technique is the conscience of the mechanized world, right? So this idea that, you know, this idea of technique being antisocial on the one end, right? So, this idea of cultural refinement on the one end and high level of technology on the other end, right? We can perceive these things. We can perceive them very quickly. Because we're looking at technology on the whole. One can be converted to another type. An American reading something and saying it to me, pointing camera at sky objects added.
Well,
Yeah.
the simple fact is technology has basically become a new religion.
Oh yeah, definitely. I
It's
mean,
not
it's
becoming a new religion. It always has been the religion.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
idols. Every
yeah,
religion's based on idols.
yeah,
Even
Prometheus, right? Because the best idol, right? The top idol of all time is man. Is to create man as the idol, right? So, right, right. So, right,
I mean, that's up there, yeah.
yeah, man is the measure of all things. Because look no further. Don't look at nature. Don't look at the universe. Don't look anywhere outside of yourself. Just within, right? So
Yeah, that's
the
like the
fact is that,
Luciferian view on shit.
Just look within.
yeah, just look within, right?
It's that jumbo.
Yeah. So the fact is that, right, that you could either, right, look at truth from within, right, so that you are the owner of the truth, or you could see it as outside of yourself, right?
Well,
So
to be honest,
right?
the Satanic Bible. I went out with when I was like younger. I went out with this goth chick, and she had a Satanic Bible. The first time I opened it, the first passage I read was the one that said, "If God has created man in His own image, should therefore man not worship himself as God?"
Yeah, and that's the
That was
Sheesh.
trick.
the very
a-
that was the very first
and that's
passage that I
why
read in that fucking thing.
Yeah, and that's why the Christian idea is such a powerful idea, all right? Because it goes right to the heart of the matter. You know what I'm saying, right? Because, to quote Saint Eusebius, he says, in order for God to, in order for man to become like God, God had to become like man. All
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So, you know what I mean, right? So Christianity really pulls the old switcheroo because it's the one that, right, really inverts the Promethean credo. If you
Yeah,
do,
yeah,
if you know what I mean.
it humanizes God.
It's
Yeah,
entheosis.
yeah. So the fact is that this idea, right, really comes full circle, and in the framing there, right?
Yeah,
And
to be honest, that's why I do sort of get the idea in like Islam that you're not allowed to portray God because no one actually knows what he looks like. So whatever you portray him is out portray him as
well, it's
is almost
interesting
definitely
because
going to be wrong. No, it's almost definitely going to be wrong anyway.
well, it's interesting because
I
they
just don't
kind of
I just
have
don't
that.
like no, I just don't like the fanaticism that some people go to because of it.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's like going too far. But I do understand the concept of not trying to give a representation of
yeah.
God.
But it's interesting. The reason is because the symbology right there is because you could transmute the image, right, in terms of you can't really portray God in the Christian religion either, in terms of, you know, right? Jesus is the image, right, of God. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah,
right?
that's right, but
Yeah,
God's
that was
painted
my
on this.
point when I
But
discussed with
God's
Jim Bob
painted
in the
in the
first
Sistine
place.
Here,
Chapel.
hold on, guys. We got to get one person in at this.
Yeah, God is
Hold on,
God is
hold on, DK. Here, hold on, DK. Let Hank speak first, and then you go. Go ahead, Hank.
Yeah, that was pretty much the whole issue of my discussion with like Jim Bob and Steve McRae. They have like an image of God and they're asserting it as the right image of God, and then we just have a disagreement. We can't if we fall from our assumptions, we can't even make the claim. And religion's always has always been about idolatry. Otherwise, the first commandment wouldn't be "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." It's God's an idol, just like all other ones.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I'm gonna drop this link here. We're gonna move on here to
uh,
some of
I'll just
these
I'll just
religion.
I
Yeah,
was just gonna say
and also DK is gonna come in. Yeah, what were you gonna say, DK? My
yeah.
bad.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, Christians, well, Catholics anyway, have represented God because isn't he painted on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel?
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that, you know what I mean, right? You know, they classically see that, see, in the Trinity, right? There's a physical representation of God within the Trinity, right? See, that's what I'm trying to say, right? Is that there's a physical image of God, right? As opposed to God the Father, right? Or the Holy Spirit. You know what I'm saying, right? So so in terms of that, right? You know, there's a finality within the representationhood of God itself, right? So that's what I'm saying, is that there's no um yeah, here. I mean, right, yeah, but you know what I'm saying?
I've been listening to you guys. What's up?
Yeah, what's going on?
Yo, I mean,
Hey
you
man,
could say man is like a different order of idolatry because it's idolizing what's within, whereas everything else is from without.
Yeah, and that's why this idea of going within is so significant, because, you know, you could go within and then, um, you know, deify your own consciousness and make it, you know, basically, you know, a mediation between you and God, right? Or, right, you can, you know, find you know, the truth unmediated from external resources, right? So you could find your own internal resources and get straight to faith, right? Without any sort of mediation, right? So the fact is that, you know what I mean, you know, symbols are not always have to be seen as you know, forms of mediation, in my opinion, right? But I think that, you know, it all you know, it all depends on, because I think that, you know, symbols are really beyond mediation, right? To a certain extent, because you can't really use symbols, right? Symbols are beyond use, right? But in terms of knowledge, you could use knowledge. I think knowledge is the element that is neutral, right? I don't think that technology is neutral, right? We're, you know, in the sense that, you know, it's morally neutral, and you know that you know, because once a technique is perfected, it all you know, and that's why it goes to this you know, this greater concept that technique itself creates uses and means for things, right? You know, yeah, but I've had that quote by Kierkegaard, you know what I mean, about mediation through the use of symbols. right? And he says that you know, that there's pagans who focus on idols, you know, but you know, there he said though their eye rests on an idol, they focus on the spirit of infinity, while as you know, there's people who, you know, worship the true God in vain. And he says, so in truth, the one is worshiping the idol and the other is, you know what I mean, praying to the true God, right? And doesn't even know it. Right?
Yeah, yeah, I see that. This generation's kind of the generation of self worship, the me generation, right? It's like self development and brainwashing and UFOs and mind control gurus.
Well, it's all mind control. You either worship yourself or you worship someone else. So,
Brown's boy just turned up in chat, by the way.
no, he's
Yeah.
been there the whole time.
Who's it?
Ah, has he?
Yeah, he's
Oh,
been there the
Brown
whole
boy.
time.
He only just started typing like a couple of minutes ago.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
let me
it's been there since the start of the show.
go ahead and pin this link here. Yeah, sorry I didn't have that pin there. But yeah, I mean to pin this link. We're gonna have an open panel, and I'm gonna talk about Elul for a little bit here. And then we're gonna move on to Daoism for a little bit. But the thing is that, and we'll have a little music in between. And I'm only gonna be here for 2 hours.
Oh,
So
you're
if
gonna
you're thinking
time
about,
yourself today.
wait, what are you saying?
You're gonna time yourself today. You got a time limit. That never
Yeah, I time
happened.
myself. Yeah, I time myself on Tuesday night, but I don't time myself on Wednesday. Yeah. Yeah, you like that, huh? That I don't actually time myself sometimes. I just come on here and just open
Yeah,
it up. Yeah, it's fascinating.
I do the same, man. I never time myself either. It's okay.
I like to have that open format, right? Because I don't like because there's certain conversations I develop that I don't want to, cut off or
Yeah,
so
yeah,
yeah.
48. It's like, oh, my time's almost up. We're gonna
Yeah.
have to end it there.
Yeah. So
I
it's good
I
to have
think
that
that's the
open format. Yeah.
I think that's the difference between an entertainer and someone who's truly looking for truth. So,
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, the questions. Yeah, and yeah, I guess because we don't ask for money and we open it up for questions. So you'll see on some of or on most of the platforms they'll be extremely controlled, right? And then they'll the whole project will be funding the operation there. Am I right? So that's yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. I'm moving house. Yeah.
their whole purpose is to try and get donations and sell
Yeah.
products and shit, rather
Yeah.
than what it should actually be about, which is really just talking about things that need to be talked about.
Yeah, like
No, who you decide what their priority should be,
Yeah.
DJ?
Well, no, that's what I mean. Like, I look at it this way: anyone who's trying to tell the truth is generally broke as fuck. Anyone who's rich, be very, very wary of. That's where I
Usually,
see
yeah.
because people who are telling the real truth, they don't get sponsorships. What a joke.
Well, here's the issue with that with Truth Yo. When you go Truth Yo, you don't pay attention to facts at all. And if someone else decides to double check you, they'll find out that the truth was just a feeling the whole time.
Let's not summon demons, shall we?
No, I mean, I don't know. I mean the actual truth. I mean factual truth. I don't mean one person's truth. I mean the actual truth. when it comes to a lot of different topics that we won't mention on YouTube. I mean, real things. People
Yeah,
are
one
talking
hundred
about
percent.
that. People are
Yeah, and
talking
you'll
about
notice,
stuff
and
like
you'll
that.
notice that, and
If
you'll
they're
notice that,
rich, they're
yeah,
fake.
yeah. Hold on, DK. Yeah, and you'll notice that a lot of, shows, you'll notice that science, futurism, right? Promotion of technology. A lot of these shows are technophiles. You know what I mean, right? You'll see a lot of the top level critiques of the system, right? They'll be apologists for science, for technological progress. They'll say that we're so blessed to live in the age that we live in. They'll never question the means by which the system uses, right, to enslave people, even though they'll say, oh, yeah, we're under cultural enslavement, we're under economic enslavement, we're under enslavement by the state. They'll say we're under all types of enslavement, but the objective forms of power in our age, which are the technological means that they use to actually enslave people, nobody actually criticizes those. They'll say, no, technology is the greatest thing that's ever happened to mankind, right?
Well, there are shows
I,
that criticize the
I
technology
sorry.
itself,
I
Right.
but
What
those are
what is
nerdy
sorry.
shows. No one wants
I
to
here?
watch
Hold
them
on.
except me.
Here, hold on a second, DK. Here, hold on a second, DK. I know you want to jump in.
Just a sec. Like someone's saying my mic's slow. I'm trying to get the volume turned up.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, it's okay.
This
Figure your
works
mic out.
down.
Yeah, figure your mic out. But
DK,
yeah,
keep your technical difficulties to yourself, please.
yeah, Hank.
Someone saying it.
Here, hold on.
I'm
Here,
trying
hold
to
on a
figure out
second,
what the right
DK.
volume is.
DK, you're cutting in too much. Yeah, Hank. Go ahead and say
Volume's good
what you're
now.
gonna say about your thing.
Yeah, there are people who get into specifics, but they're not popular for some reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you like to mention some of the people who critique technology? Because that's what I was I wanted to ask you next. Go ahead.
We have what's that word? I forgot the name. People alive today with us, like Louis Rossman, Brian Lenduke, Zali, who critique the technology itself, but I guess the people don't like that. They like general statements. They don't like the specifics. So they'll just be nerds. So
Who
oh well.
Do they have channels or
Oh
what?
yes, yeah, absolutely. They all have channels that I go to very frequently
Okay.
to watch. So, but you don't know about them because people don't like to watch them. Because people like the generalities, they don't like getting their hands in the dirt and doing something.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, definitely. And I gotta move past here. In terms of general critiques, right? We're not making a critique about the economic means, so we're not talking about improving the means of efficiency of technology itself, right? And we'll see how technology itself replaces this idea of reason with this idea of efficiency, right? And right, human reason becomes ineffectual, right? And the idea of improving the efficiency of means within the system, right, becomes the primary aspect of, the primary means of improvement itself, right? So here, Lul says, and right, to go to the previous statement, he says technique creates means, but the technical operation still occurs at the same level as that of the worker who does the work. The skilled worker, like the primitive huntsman, remains a technical operator. Their attitude differ only to a small degree, but the two factors enter into the extensive field of technical operation, consciousness, and judgment. This double intervention produces what I call the technical phenomenon. What characterizes this double intervention? Essentially, it takes what was previously tentative, unconscious, spontaneous, and brings it into the realm of clear, voluntary reason concepts. Okay? So,
Whoa.
yeah. Yeah, so first,
So how does that work when, like, say you give AI an objective to complete and it comes up with a completely different way of doing it than humans have already come up with?
Oh, it's called
yeah,
bad programming. That's how. When
yeah,
you program something weird, you have undefined behavior. So it's just bad
Oh,
programming.
if you're just
Yeah,
asking for an
I think
outcome,
what you're
if you're just asking for an outcome and you're just letting it go
yeah.
nuts, yeah.
Yeah, I think what DK is saying is that you know there's counterintuitive results, right, to the way that a machine would solve problems, right? That it would take a different way to solve problems that seem spontaneous and they seem unreasoned, right? So, but the fact is that on the level of you know with just what is human society, human beings make decisions, right? And those decisions are based on their own personal reasons, right? Sometimes based on what they
Experience, yeah.
yeah, sometimes based on what they ate that day, right? So the
Yeah,
fact
it's
is
like
that
humans act on like emotion and experience and things. Whereas
exactly, so the society,
a
yeah,
machine
so
doesn't
the
necessarily have that background
right
or basis
No,
to act
yeah,
upon.
yeah, but this isn't really where I'm going with it. The fact is that you know, this whole idea goes to this fact that you know, that this technical means is sort of on the outside of you know, essentially that human means are more spontaneous than technical means. That's the first thing. But the idea is that nature has spontaneous processes that are tentative until brought into the temporal, non-tentative, essentially assigned means of technical procedures, right? So the fact is that technical means they produce replicatable results. So the fact is that their processes are a lot more reasoned and less spontaneous than those based on human needs, human voluntary actions, let's so to say, right? Right. So he's just pointing this out, right? So this goes to the fact, the greater fact and opinion that right, technique itself creates means, right? Then he goes on to say, when Andre Leroy Goran tabulates the efficiency of Zulu swords and arrows in terms of the most up-to-date knowledge of weaponry, he is doing work that is obviously different from that of the sword. See what I mean, right? Right, the
Yeah,
swordsmith, right, and this goes back to the idea that I was talking about, liquid swords, right? It's almost perfect, right? Right.
yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah. Go ahead, Hank.
nature does it. It's called constraints. If nature limits how much something can go somewhere, so when nature forces creates techniques, it does it with constraints by just not giving something all the resources.
And that's what I was saying, that nature is technique in a way that it creates techniques, right, in the way that it creates means to ends, right? But those means to ends are not based off of complexification of means to a particular end, but simplification of means to a plethora of ends. Yeah, blessings. Taylor, thank you for being here. Um, how do I get someone's name in front of my words?
Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, you got to be on the computer to achieve that. You're talking about adding. Yeah, you had to be on your computer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I hate when that
Oh no,
happens.
you type at and start typing their name.
Yeah, it doesn't always work though. I hate when it stops working like that. But
Oh really? Does it
yeah,
not always work? Yeah, no, usually it does. Type at and start typing the person's name,
yeah,
and it should show up, and then you
yeah.
just
No,
hit enter,
Not
and
from
then
a
you
yeah, I know
carry
what
phone.
on
you're talking
typing.
about. Yeah, I know what you're talking
Not
about.
from a
But
phone.
yeah, yeah. But blessings, NPC the game. Welcome.
Hey,
How's it going,
NPC.
big dog? How's it going, machine?
Hey, how's it
What's
Hey,
up,
going?
Gabe.
Gis?
He
What's
keeps
up, Hank?
notifying me
Yo.
on my Discord channel when people
Red?
go live.
Yeah, you can turn it off.
That's all good. I don't have a problem with it, man. Shit, I'm all for like supporting and promoting everyone who's doing stuff. It's all good.
Yeah. Technology has definitely brought us like incredible advancements, but it is like a double-edged sword. I mean, there's even more. It seems like there's more social erosion of privacy, right? With this technology, that's one big thing.
100%.
That's wild, man.
And also less physical social interaction. Everyone's happier to stay on their phone and talk to people they know online.
Yeah, 100%, DK.
Talk to the person they're sitting beside at a bus stop.
Yeah, there's isolation and interconnectedness. These two double features. You're talk about double-edged sword, right?
Yeah.
That that they have these two penetrative features. That in one end, causes alienation. The isolation causes alienation. You know what I mean? And the interconnectedness, it causes over socialization. So the fact is that the isolation is due to the transmission of information through mediated means, right? That you have to text people. Yeah, give me a second, DK. Don't cut in for a second. But yeah, the whole idea is based on mediated means. That we have to view means and ideas, in terms of getting ideas through the screen. So we don't relate to things personally. Excuse me. And then the other idea is that this whole factor of so the first factor is voyeurism, increased sense of voyeuristic behavior, that people are seeing is believing, all right, because everything becomes transmitted through the screen. The second idea is this idea of escapism, right? Because just as I said, over socialized, right? So every place becomes commodified. There's a commodification of human behavior, right? In a sense, right? So the fact is that, right, we're all being, we're and this is what you're saying, is that there's a loss of privacy, right? Is because, right, your behavior is, your brand in a way, right? You know what I'm saying, right? So this is the problem, is that, right, our we're producing and consuming at the same time the social media, right? So the fact is that, as they say, if something's free, you're the thing that's that's for sale. You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
Right?
You're the product. Yeah.
You're the product.
Free, you're the product. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So but yeah, whatever anybody wants to say, bless
Yeah,
them.
so DK, I've taken that criticism to heart, but when I talk to some of the bus stop, you want to talk about the weather or sports ball tribalism, and it's just not worth my time, to be honest. It's not worth.
But Hank, I see what you're saying. That's an excuse in a sense. You're talking to you. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, bro.
Say the bit that I was going to say before.
Damn, DC, don't give DK that space. You fucking railroad that motherfucker. What do you gotta say, NPC game? What's up?
What's up, Truth or Cam?
What I was going to say is, like, online also gives everyone an echo chamber. So anyone can find someone who's going to agree with their point of view, and there'll be a few other like-minded people. So they get whatever negative opinions they have reinforced, or positive, but whatever opinions they have, they will get reinforced by that group online. Whereas in the real world, it's like, if it wasn't for that online thing where they're all bonding over something in particular, and they hadn't all met up online, it's like no one would find each other in real life anymore.
That's not factual.
No one does anything. No one talks to each other.
But that's not factual. I can get you counterexamples of people who never found an echo chamber for them.
DK, I think he was describing something a little bit different, though, than just an echo chamber. I think he's more so making a value assessment of his attention and what kind of valuable topic hierarchy he kind of wants to speak about. But,
exactly.
And no offense, DK. I mean, if you're at
what I was going to say was relative to what
DK not done.
DK, we heard what you said. Let's somebody else talk. Thank you, DK. You could take a break. Take a breath.
Don't be condescending.
Take a breath, DK. No,
It's
I
not
want you
just
to.
the
I want the
voyeurism either.
condensation enter your lungs from your atmosphere that you're breathing into yourself.
Yeah.
It's not.
Go ahead,
It's
Red.
the
Settle
engagement
down. Do
because
not
But
patronize
yeah,
me.
hold on. Let's have Reddington and then NPC blessings. Go ahead.
it's the engagement. It's the attention is for lack of a better term, it's made more efficient in a way, but at the same time, it's losing connection with what you're doing. In other words, when you're typing some email on the computer, it's not the same thing as writing down in your journal. When you write in your journal, you're more involved. You're
Yeah.
focused on writing, so it stays with you more than typing, I would say.
Yeah, Red, it's a deeper connection when you're writing, for example, like you're saying, that medium, or even having a real life conversation with someone. And I could use that excuse of like, there's no one to talk to here because my Chinese is it's okay. So I use that as an excuse, to be honest, sometimes to not actually talk to people I normally would to in the States if I'm in line somewhere or whatever. And you know what I'm missing? I'm missing out on probably a deep, maybe a deep connection, even though they may not agree with some of the stuff I'm saying, but that's the thing about having these organic conversations in real life out of an echo chamber is it may take you somewhere that you never thought you would go. But if we're all in echo chambers, you don't really get there because it's almost like I'm using this word lightly, it gets thrown away around a lot, a cult in it that if you disagree a little bit with whatever the echo chamber is, you're seen as a pariah. When in fact, sometimes a little pushback actually brings about, more depth in this whole experience we're living in.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely. Without opposite opinions and things, how can you prove what you think?
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you're just surrounded by people who are just going to be yes men and agree with everything that you say, how is that beneficial to anyone? No one's going to learn. No one's going to grow. Nothing moves forward. It becomes stagnant.
Right. Yeah, machine, blessings to you, brother. I have a question for you. You said, I remember you said in the past, like you only been doing this live stuff for a couple years, right? Are you there?
Well, only 1 year, really.
Oh,
Yeah.
1 year. Okay, even less. So before, did you have like an arena where you could talk about these ideas with and like
At least with Scribina, I would imagine.
so
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
a smaller, right? Community.
Other than talking, and that's why I'm so surprised by the lack of you know um correspondence, right, in terms of these topics, and so is Dr. Scribina, and right, he once said to me that he can count on his hands, right, the number of people that he knows that are interested in the level of topics that were concerning. So although people have a rudimentary fear of the technological scope of things, right? And they're familiar with like the Matrix and the Terminator and that type of stuff. And right, it doesn't quite seem like they have a real impetus for trying to gain knowledge of critical I guess forms of criticism. You know, right? Critical forms of criticism. What a redundant statement. You know, right? But right, the fact is that there's not elegant critiques about technology, right? So and right, the fact that you have to search far and wide or have to start these conversations yourself, you know, right, is not a good sign at all, right? I mean, I gotta say, you know, right? There's like 2 or 3 guys I saw on YouTube that were actually mentioning or talking about Elul and stuff. And if you talk about it, you know what I mean, or if you search up, Jacques Ellul Technological Society, the sources are extremely sparse and diverse, right? Over who's concerned about the issue, right? Even though it seems like such a general topic of concern, really, you know what I mean, right? Like, obviously I played that clip of Elon Musk last time from AI Government, where he's saying, "Oh yeah, we're waking up this demon," you know what I mean, right? And Elul said that in '64. Right, the same year that I said, you know what I mean? They started a lot of things that year, right?
I
In 1964, right? It was a notable year for many reasons, right?
I think
And yeah,
I think that it's because people are desensitized, and then a lot of it too is there's so much confusion, so much information out there. People get I think like they're being manipulated, like uh, to have shorter attention span, all this other stuff, and then the topics when they are covered, they're just kind of skimming the top. Like it doesn't feel like people are willing to really dive deep into anything, no matter what topic you're talking about. But they're quick to like, call themselves whatever they say they are, like a Christian, this or that, or someone into technology or whatever. But they're secondary sources, or I don't know.
yeah, and it goes to this point that the first critique people will have is that, look, you're using technology to criticize technology, right? So it's ultimately stupidity and redundancy, right? Because what are you going to do about the fact that we're all using technology, right? And I'll say, well, are you saying that it's not an option whether or not we can use technology? Are you actually now alleging that we don't have a choice of going back to
Absurdism.
non-technological means, right? Because if you are saying that, then that means that is the number one predicament. That is the number one human predicament of our times, right? Because how could there be a more significant fact that we are that our use of technology is simply just not an option for us, all right? So it goes to that fact, and then it goes to another greater idea, which is that you know that that if we need to critique technology through technological means, and that we wouldn't have this problem if we didn't have technology, well then, I guess the point I'm trying to make is brought full circle, right? Right is that you know we wouldn't need to answer this question if we didn't have the means that we're using to answer it, or the need to answer it through these means.
Well,
Right?
that's
So
just like people being nihilistic about any topic. You could talk about anything, and someone's going to be like, "Well, who cares?" or whatever. And like, I was looking at Twitter today, and I feel like most of the pages are like set up specifically to cause a certain reaction from other people, and like almost like, I don't know, like somebody's behind it. And maybe I'm paranoid, but uh, it just seemed really directed, like certain topics on culture, and then it felt like it was trying to like cause a race riot or something. So I don't know, like something's happening on in the internet world where people are getting snowed and propaganda's everywhere, and the reaction is scary, man. It's demonic, because when you're talking about truth, it's uh like you're saying, like you're being critiqued for talking about truth.
yeah, and that's what one of my friends said. Shout out to the homie Bureau Jack, right? But yeah, he really said one day, right? He said, he pointed out one of the main things is that, when you try to critique the system, people will try to, say that maybe you should get help, right? So, so the fact
Mm-hmm.
is that,
Pretty much.
one of the main responses that people have is that, yeah, I think that the fact that you're having problems with the way things are, means that you're a deeply troubled individual, right? So the fact is that, right, that ultimately, if you try to critique the system, you will be the one that's critiqued in response, right? So,
We're
right,
like in a
there's
Bolshevik revolution, kind of, a
yeah,
modern day version.
Yo,
Um,
in Soviet Russia, system critique you.
Yo,
It's like
perfect
that.
example. Perfect example. Ready? Say
Well,
at a
Marx said that
workplace.
would happen. That if you had a subversive thought that didn't align with, popular opinion, then the people would uproot you from the system.
Ready? Perfect example at work. If you're doing something and you see a project's going a certain way, say to someone, "Hey, let's slow down now."
Yeah. Okay. I get what you're saying.
You kind of cut out
The
there,
mimetic
Michael.
mind virus. It's just an instant swarming of like, that's stupid, shame that behavior, like don't actually have a discussion on it. Like what an idiot, what a fool. We're trying to speed up. Like it's like, oh my.
It depends on how much of a dick the project managers are and the higher ups. They don't want the apple cart upset too much.
That's the thing. There's like this hierarchical posturing, which is fine. Hierarchies are needed. But if someone were to say, well, let's discuss the techniques at play. Let's discuss like what techniques are we outsourcing? What are we giving over to mechanization that also, what is it, like cost benefit? It could be a cost on one hand as well as where you're just seeing it as a benefit. At that point, I would say that there is an agenda of the technology. And
yeah.
Yeah, and this is moving on from people that realize that there's a problem. Please and thank you. Right? But yeah, reason plus use equals this notion of efficiency and mediation of means, right? And when you have pure mediation, right, then everything is reduced to efficiency and utility, right? These two features, right? These dual features. So the fact is that, and he demonstrates this by this idea, right, of warrior. You have the three things. You have the warrior, the weapon, and then you have the efficiency of the weapon, right, and its use over time, right? So all these three items can be looked at, right? There's the one who creates there's the one who wields the weapon. There's the one who, they're in
Someone who creates it,
designs.
someone
Yeah,
who designs
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Designs the weapon, and then there's the one who, studies weapons and their efficiency and use across time, right? So you could see these as three, right? There's the one who, masters a game, right? There's the one who, designs a game board, right? And then there's the one who creates the game, right? That person knows every move and the design, right? So there's all of these levels to the situation, folks, right? And this is the level of symbols, right? Obviously, right? And technique and framing of means, right? Through the use of symbols, right? The mediation, through the use of tools, right, and means, right? And this is exactly how it goes from information and communication, right, to knowledge, right, which is something that is possessed by a human being, to technique, which is something that a human being develops that is externalized means, right, that anybody can use, right? So it goes across people, right? So technique goes across humans, right? The same way knowledge is possessed by a single human, right? In the same way information can be transmitted by 2 points. Two machines can transmit information between 2 points, and that's communication, right? Language requires meaning, and so does knowledge require a person, right? Technique requires neither, right? This is what I'm trying to demonstrate.
So the means is not hijacked, is what you're saying, by the technology. It's instead amplified between both human beings, so that they can understand and gather knowledge themselves through technique building. Could you refine that? Or
Well,
try off?
what I'm trying to say is that if you make a manual, right, the better the manual is at describing a technique, right, the less developed the person has to be, right? So a good manual, right? Um, can be used by any type of person, right? So the fact is that, right, technique um doesn't focuses less on the user, right? It focuses more on development of technique itself, while knowledge is possessed by a person, right? So knowledge is synonymous to language, right? Whereas technique is synonymous to, you know, just you know,
Methodology.
yeah, just I guess I'm trying to compare it to automation, right? Where you know, a person's just pressing the button,
Ah,
right?
procedure.
Like, yeah, yeah, like anybody can come in and, complete the 3 steps. Press this button, then it'll turn this knob,
Wait
then you
5
gotta walk
minutes,
over to
press
this
that
machine.
button.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, you get what I'm saying, Michael?
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
like
So
the factory process type thing.
yeah, yeah, like a ever increasing level of codification, right? So for example, right, um, you know, um, yeah, like I said, communication, right? You could just have any form of information pass between two, for example, right? A bee takes, pollen from this plant, right? And takes it over here, and a bunch of bees use the pollen, and they encode the pollen, and they know, like, this is the type of plants we could use to make honey, right? So they're using, a type of technique, right? In order, and they did the same thing. One time, they found bees that, they had, a dump from an M&M factory, right? The sugar, right? And the bees found it, right, and started harvesting the artificial sugar to make blue and green honey. And they found bees that were using, the artificial sugar from an M&M plant to make blue and green honey, right? So
Yeah,
even
I
if
saw
there
that.
wasn't, yeah, so even if there wasn't any flowers,
Did
right,
it
the bees,
taste like honey?
yeah, they would still just make, yeah, they would still apply the same, method that they used to make, harvesting the pollen from the plants
Oh,
to,
I get that, but I was just
yeah, to
wondering if it
collecting,
still tasted like honey
honey.
if it's from artificial bullshit.
Wait, what are you saying?
I said I was wondering if it still tasted like honey when it's made from artificial bullshit instead of
Yeah,
from
who know?
natural
Yeah, who
pollen.
knows? Yeah, who knows? That's sort of incidental to the point I'm making. But the fact is that, the technique can be translated, right, across means, right. So the fact is that, right, this whole idea about, um, you know, communication of information, right, by bees, from two different flowers, right, or something like that, or the genetic information, from a bee, being parasitized by a type of fungus, and right, which they often are. There's a bunch of type of insects that are parasitized by different types of fungus, and they share genetic information through different types of mycelium, and right. So the fact is that, and right, nature communicates, right? Plants send information to each other. They don't even know what they're doing, right? They don't have to be conscious of the process, right? For a human being to learn, they're conscious of the process they're using, right? This is called knowledge, right? That's why knowledge has a possessor, right? But technique uses people, right? It doesn't need people specifically, right? So technique, the user is incidental to the technique itself, right? So the fact is that humans are secondary to technique, right? Is what I'm trying to describe. So there's this ever telescoping level to means, right, and processes, and once you have means plus reason, right, codification of reason and means, this is called efficiency, big time, all right? And this is where efficiency rears its ugly head, right? It says here, when Andre Leroy Gorhan tabulates the efficiency, and we're on page 20 now. We've made it all the way to page 20. Painstaking, hours and hours of discussion, just about those first 20 pages of Elul. See, it's heavy stuff. You know what I mean? And there's 400 pages of this, so as you could probably calculate, I'll probably be doing hundreds and hundreds of hours on Elul, right? Because there's 3 of these books. But yeah.
Who would have thought a Frenchman would put us through so much rigor?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Or a Pakistani from Detroit, all right? But yeah,
That too.
yeah, knowledge of weaponry, the efficiency of swords and arrows, right, is another grade. Right? Of information than the weapons or the warriors themselves is what I'm trying to say. The swordsman's choice of form was unconscious and spontaneous, he says. Right? Okay? Okay. Okay, he says what okay, and I'll read this again. When he tabulates the efficiency of Zulu swords and arrows in terms of the most up-to-date knowledge of weaponry, he is doing work that is obviously different from that of the swordsman. I mean that of the swordsmith, sorry, who created the form of the sword. Okay? The swordsmith's choice of form was unconscious and spontaneous. Although it can now be justified by numerical calculations, such calculations had no place whatever in the technical operation he performed. But reason did inevitably enter into the process because man spontaneously imitates nature in his activities. Accomplishments that merely copy nature, however, have no future. For instance, the imitation of birds' wings from Icarus to Ader. Reason makes it impossible to produce objects in terms of certain features, certain abstract requirements, and this in turn leads not to imitation of nature, but to the ways of technique. Okay, so reason needs to be refined through means of use, right? Once it is, right, it creates more efficient means of use, right? And this is how technique refines reason itself, right? Okay. And he goes on to say, he says, the intervention of rational judgment in the technical operation has important consequences. Man becomes aware that it is possible to find new and different means. Reason upsets pragmatic traditions and creates new operational methods and new tools. It examines rationally the possibilities of the more extensive and less rigid experimentation. Reason, in these ways, multiplies technical operations to a high degree of diversity, but it also operates in the opposite direction. It considers results and takes account of the fixed end of technique efficiency. Okay? So technique uses reason as a means and not as an ordering principle, right? To dispel pragmatic tradition. That's the first point, right? And the second point is, right, that through a plethora of means and ends, okay, through a plethora of means, right, the ends are made more and more in abstraction, okay? And the end goal of technique is efficiency, right? That's why, right? Okay, the means become okay the primary goal, right?
So wait, the means are quantified and diversified, and
Yes.
there's more importance put on the end agenda of technology.
Yeah, or to basically, amplify this whole thing. Lul says like essentially technique transforms ends into means, right?
Uh-huh.
So it's like it like reverses, like what I mean, like it just, right. So it's creating processes, right? Right.
They throw the stone the farthest and don't think of the heads they crack along the way. That's what I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
any group of people, any organization, any leadership group where the leaders start to hijack the other person's definition of the ends, and they put the ends first, and they say these ends must come before these means. That
Yeah.
by definition is hijacking someone's agency and their
Yeah,
ability
it's like,
to discern.
yeah.
Say?
I'm sorry, you cut out there at the end there. What did you say?
My bad. Any organization or group that hijacks someone else's ability to determine the correct ends, right? The
Yeah.
appropriate ends that we both want when we are communicating and are collaborating in the exchange of knowledge. If someone does that, that is how manipulated.
Yeah, you keep getting cut out there. But yeah. I hear what you're saying. Right?
That's something. I'm gonna wait. Keep reading. I got you.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, go back and listen to the recording, right? But yeah, a couple of times you're right. You tried to finish your statement and you got cut out right at the end. But yeah, blessings,
Blessings.
Michael. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I mean, but yeah, this whole idea of that and even what Unseen was talking about, right? You could focus on throwing a stone, right? And you focus building better catapults, and pretty soon you're saying, oh no, it's the thrower's arm that needs to be refined. We need to make a robotic arm to throw the stone, right? And exactly, right? And while you're catapulting these stones, you don't care how many heads you crack while you're developing the refining technology to throw the stone, right? So you could just focus on throwing stones, right? And yeah, exactly. You won't care how many heads you crack along the way, right? Right. To give a brutally detailed example of that.
What did I do this time?
but yeah, it says
Well, I'll let you know, DK. Don't you worry.
yeah, but yeah, firstly,
there's always got to be one. Hey, do you know what the worst thing is? In the last quarter of an hour, I've been invited to 2 other panel things to go on.
Yeah, of course. Blessings. Yeah, you're very popular. Yeah, the thing is that we got, yeah, yeah, but but this whole idea of refining, ends to means. You know what I mean? The more we use tools, right, we become like the tools we use, right? So, we shape tools, right? And then the tools we use shape us. And this isn't to say that, and yes, our control's receding over time, but of course it's us that's doing it to us, right?
I can give you a prime example of it.
Here, hold on. But another point I want to make is that this idea of refining means to an end, is the same idea that Rousseau saw. Not Rousseau. Obviously Rousseau saw it too, but Thoreau, copying, off of Rousseau, in his whole idea, he's saying that, this whole idea that he talks about the railroad, that railroads change the way that towns operate, right? And the way that so the fact is that they change how human beings communicate with each other. And he's saying that, yeah, we made railroads, but now railroads are, they're the ones that are, riding over human societies instead of human beings, controlling the railroad. It's the railroad that are controlling the way human societies are shaped, right? And he saw that in the 1800s, right? But anyways, what were you saying, DK?
Yeah, I was saying I've got like a prime example of exactly what you're saying about how the technology and the tools actually end up shaping us. Like cell phones are the prime example. Like, I bet you there is a good chance you remember the phone number from the house you grew up in. Is this correct? For everyone on the panel, do you remember phone numbers from when you were a kid and shit?
Yeah, it is correct. I remember the original. I remember the spin dial phone.
Right.
The thing is, I don't remember all my family's numbers as I aged, and that is the phenomenon that they definitely speak of.
Now that your cell phone saves phone numbers for you, how many fucking phone numbers do you actually know off the top of your head right now?
Probably count them on your hands.
If that. I remember like zero. I remember my
Yeah.
own phone number. That's it. I used to
If
remember
that.
like about 30 phone numbers. Now my phone does that for me, so I don't remember anything. How is that beneficial to society? It is truly the dumbing down, and I do have a really high IQ, but I've let the cell phone take the place of that part of my brain.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't believe I spent all that time in the show, hour to 30 minutes over one paragraph of Elul. Remember, right? But the thing is that I really have to move on to Daoism. So I'm gonna play a song here, take a little 10-minute musical break. Does anybody have any comments before we move on here?
Quick question, maybe. Do you
Yeah.
think Machiavelli was kind of like a prototype for social techniques?
Oh yeah, he was definitely trying to maximize cultural refinement and social techniques against the autocratic state, and right, and that's why he focuses so much on the human element, right? He did not want he opposed both religion and science, right? That means that in
Right.
this time science basically meant Plato, right? So
Yeah.
he really didn't like this idea that you could develop and refine political techniques so that you didn't have to care about the people in the state, right? So he hated this idea that you could create an ideal state the way Plato did or the way the scientists want to make, right? And so, society through the autocratic state. He thought that that was extremely untenable, right? And then this idea that religion, that you could just brainwash people through religion and that they were going to behave because religion told them to behave. He thought that was ridiculous, right? He thought that you needed more bite and force behind laws, and he thought there was actual force behind laws and arms, right? That was not consolidated through the use of religion that was seen, and he said that you know the ruler has to learn how not to be good, all right? Because
Right.
otherwise these manipulative techniques of the priests and all this stuff was going to be used against him.
For sure.
Yeah, so he opposed both religion and science, right? So Machiavelli was a very interesting thinker, and that's why he said, religion and science are false because it's about politics, and politics is about history. So don't trust this people who say that science is gonna save you because it creates this notion of this ideal or utopian state, or because um or that religion's gonna save you because you don't have to worry about how society functions. You just let God sort it out. We're all gonna go to heaven if we're good here, so it doesn't matter how society functions. So he thought
Yeah.
that was a no a non-starter, all right, in terms
Oh,
of
yeah, same.
politics, right?
I actually agree with both of those principles completely.
Yeah. Yeah, you might be a Machiavellian. Yep.
I agree with the scientific principle of constantly researching and trying to prove or disprove shit. But at what point can you ever trust science when the number of things that have constantly changed 5-10 years later when they researched a bit more? How can you actually trust it? You can trust the process, but you can't trust when they come out with results.
Right. Unfortunately, history is a funny thing of repeating itself. So
Yeah, man, that's the thing, is that the historians and the scientists, they have a funny way of changing their story. Right about
that too.
right. So yeah, we're gonna
rewriting history.
yeah, exactly.
fit their
Exactly. Yeah, the ministry of truth. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna move on here. I'm gonna play some music for about 10 minutes here, and then I'm gonna come back with some with some with some ideas about Taoism here. I mean, so yeah, that's what we're gonna do. Blessings. I mean, yeah, I saw this on the internet the other day. I mean, this is a pretty interesting song. The lyrics definitely. You know.
president of the shadow government, the grand governor of the Federal Reserve, public enemy of the society, the one you cannot see, the 33 degree. Before you call the shot, but now it's our turn. Blow up the system and the tables have a turn. You hear the knowledge you thought I never learned. A strike a match and make the whole place burn. I'm the real WMD. I'm your number one public enemy. I'm the one, your runaway slave. I'm the one who got away. Automatic, rapid fire. Automatic, make me in a danger. Automatic, rapid fire. Automatic, make me in a danger. Lethal, make me lethal. I'm a weapon. Danger, make me danger. AK-47. Lethal, make me lethal. I'm a weapon. Danger, make me danger. Make that on danger, make me danger. Make that on danger, make me danger. Cameras, they track me, they try to entrap me. Shadows I creep, cause I know exactly the knowledge you keep. I'm the word on the street. I've got nothing to lose. The whole world to gain, slip out of your news. Now I'm running your game. I beat the hive, I upset the swarm. Category 5, I'm the center of the storm. We not gon' stress. Put me to the test. I strike on my Jamaica, please burn. Walk with the edges and me down with the wind. Bulletproof vest and I'm a Smith & Wesson. Ain't never test me, I go teach her. We not gon' stress. Put me to the test. We not gon' stress. Put me to the test. I say me walk with the edges and me down with the wind. Bulletproof vest and I'm a Smith & Wesson. Ain't never teach me, not gon' teach her. We not gon' stress. Put me to the test. We not gon' stress. Put me to the test.
jeans, she watches her street cred, cause she's no dummy. It's a rock the microphone and now she's calling me a honey. Says I know what I want, don't move with thugs, with house parties, hip hop, and smoking drugs. And whoever's being a boss, she's down with them. She's always on time, cause the girl got rhythm to avoid no complications. I'll give some information about a certain location under Patio Station, cause when I host my show, I avoid the girl called Lola, who's more popular than a drink that Coca-Cola. Predominant mouth, just back disposing faces shaded in black, is dominating as my color. The massive attack, right now I hit it, kick it, flow smooth, hit middle wicket.
I take a small step, now it's a chance stride. People say I'm loud, why should I hide? Only had a small taste, so what a waste. I quietly observe there is not much space. Bottom end's heavy, you know we're never even. People call me tricky for a particular reason. I've got you say, and I've got to let you know. See, rocking in your area, rock beneath your balcony. My baby just cares for me, well that's funny. Her touch tickles, especially on my tummy.
Now who's got the microphone?
Now who's honey?
It's turbo and charge to a charge. I did a DG while bunch to and large. Don't call me an officer, just call me a sarge. Mashing up the country, town and also abroad. Plan to go to America when I get a visa card.
But getting a visa card nowadays isn't hard.
So keep your ears peeled and listen to every card. Tokyo City's one place that we told. 4 technique plus 2 mix a bowl. Sharper than a Wilkerson razor sword.
When I was a child I played Studio One. My table then I graduate to Studio One. Cause these my nom de plume, you know that three's my pseudonym. And around my neck you know I wear the Sony Budokan. Indigo blue sugar, me in my own shoes. The people dancing in the shade for what they made they can't lose. Yes, waxing lyrical, the time is not satirical. It's kinda spherical, so jam me in a circle. This is the miracle, let up in the selection.
So whether you're black or white or half caste in your complexion.
Yes, pull out your phone or plug and tuck you in your phony. It started by Marconi, resumed by Sony. A summary of wireless history and only by massive attack and only explosione.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Taylor, thank you for joining. Blessings. Yeah, peace be with you, sir.
As on here, thank you.
Yeah, for
Thank
sure.
you.
Yeah, and
Yo, Taylor, have you heard of breathwork? Taylor. Lorray.
Yes.
The La. So then you must know the other guy named Tyler, right? Taylor Bud.
Which Taylor? I
Taylor.
only know this one.
You don't know the guy? His name's Tao Lorray on YouTube.
No, not yet.
Interesting.
I may soon.
Ching, and he has some wonderful kind of dissertations on even just the mechanization of eating and stuff, and he basically describes that breathwork is nature, and in accordance with the Tao, and all else kind of is an interruption of that, is his belief.
I like them, then. I do.
Continue. Are we reading the Tao, or are we still on Alul?
Yeah, we're getting into Daoism now, and I'm gonna go for maybe 45 minutes or so, but the main brunt of this will be tomorrow. The fact is that we're doing a lengthy explanation of different historical accounts of the Taoist work, and then on pretty much 12/25 Christmas Day, and right, we will open up the text, the Tao Te Ching, and look at the Tao Te Ching itself, right? So we'll start with the more popular translations, and then we'll move to some of the more scholarly translations and some of the modern ones, right? So we'll look at a lot of different ideas, right, in terms of the relationships with Taoism, and I think that a lot of it has to do with, in terms of its opposition to um the idea about both social techniques and also the notions of cultural refinement within Confucianism, right? The and also these notions of you know the development of science and technique, right? So there's all of these ideas within Taoism that are extremely important, right? You know what I mean, to sort of work out and understand. So the Tao critiques lots of different ideas, right? And it is sort of an anti philosophy, right? In a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Similar to the ideas of the cynics, right? you know that you know I guess they thought that Plato and the Stoics and you know what I mean, and some of the other thinkers, right, didn't go far enough, right, in their critiques, right? So yeah, so very similar in that way, right? But yeah, in these historical critiques, there's some ideas here that I think are pretty relevant, to what we're talking about. Last time I thought it was pretty relevant to talk about this notion about you know about the Tao's view on women, because the Tao talks about some notable passages about women, right, and females, and about feminine qualities and feminine energy, right, and about the valley spirit, creating yet not possessing, producing without ownership, etc., etc. Right? This idea about, you know what I mean?
Transmuting.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of that. Yeah, that that the way he puts it is that it's a feminine quality, right? And obviously, we're talking about how he also relates this idea to water, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, so he's talking about, you know, water being yielding, right? So having this yielding yet overcoming, right? So we're talking about these different notions, right? And I'm also trying to talk about how Taoism talks about this internal reserve, moving out from the center, not having your not having an external locus of energy pull you. You know what I mean, right? Okay, so the whole idea is about moving out from your center and engaging all things while doing nothing, right? This idea of having a firm root and engaging things through stillness, right? This is the notion of yielding, right? That it allows things to move around, right, by directing their movement. I mean, right, and not engaging things directly, right? So this is sort of non-mediated action, right? Wu Wei, right? You know what I mean? Yeah, go ahead, Taylor.
Just
You got
before
something?
you were saying something about feminine water, whatever you were saying. I mean, y'all know what you're
Yeah,
saying. Kind of who's in control, the sub or the dom, the predator or the prey. I don't think
right.
either. I think it, it's
Exactly, right.
yeah, anyway, period.
Yeah, definitely. Right. Definitely. You know, because and that goes to the idea of plants in general, right? That they're kind of the real ruler of this place, but they kind of rule through stillness, right? So it's just kind of like, like they don't really exert power or force or dominance, right?
Just because they
But
don't got to.
yeah, yeah, but everybody needs them. Right? Like for to quote Fela Kuti, water no get enemy, right? You know what I mean?
Ah, that's a good
Water has
one.
a yeah, water has a force that'll crush you, right? But right, and parents have to protect their kids from the water, right? But what are you going to use to wash yourself, and what are you going to use to live? Water.
Isn't that number two? It's number two after air, right? It's air then water, I think.
Right. Yeah. So it's this idea that these essential qualities are, I mean, that unrefined nature, right? The uncarved block that that has a both beautiful, sacred, dangerous, chaotic nature to it all, right? And that is essentially what he's trying to explicate here, right? Um and yeah, let's go into some of what he's saying because here I think that they move into some ideas here. Obviously, this whole idea of the valley spirit, as I was just talking about. But yeah,
Hey, sorry everyone, I gotta take off, man.
yeah, for
Great
sure.
show
Just
so far,
blessings.
Dan.
Yep.
Great show so far. I hope the rest of it goes as well as the first half has.
Yeah,
But
thank
yeah,
you.
I've got to take off because I forgot that I'm supposed to be hosting like a radio show thing tonight. So I've got to start getting all that sorted for people.
Ah,
So yeah.
okay.
All right, yeah, no, I'll catch you up, guys. Tomorrow you said, eh?
Yeah, but tomorrow we'll be live again. Yeah, and thank you so much, and blessings on your radio show.
Yeah,
Man, best
cheers,
of luck
brother.
on that. Yeah, thank you so
Much
much.
love, no fear, everyone. I'll catch you
Yeah,
up
thank you.
tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. See you tomorrow.
No rational fear, anyway.
Yeah. And and we're gonna get into some of his ideas here. Let me move on here. Blessings. It says a school which was given to practices thought to be conducive to prolonging of life. In Lao Tzu, the aim is rather to avoid an untimely death through the adoption of submissiveness as a principle of conduct than the prolonging of life beyond its natural limit by artificial practices popular with the seekers after immortality. Okay, I think that's an appropriate definition, right? Uh, you know,
Yeah, I don't think humans were nowhere near the infinite life thing. We're just way low on the evolution scale, I feel.
yeah, Yeah,
I think that's
definitely. If
a
there
high
is
goal.
that, yeah, if there is that sort of thing, right?
Exactly. If
Yeah, you know what I mean. Yeah, but yeah, if there is that sort of thing, then technology is a quagmire in the whole scheme because even right, what does if you look at technology and quote unquote evolution, right? Then where it makes little to no sense because the rate of increase of technology in such a short amount of time would have to suggest that we're in a new phase of that, or at least that is where this concept of transhumanism came from, right? Is that, oh look, well there's evolution. Oh look, technology is rapidly increasing. Oh look, possibly technology is the next stage in human evolution, right?
what is it? If
So
we're not going to do it ourselves, we'll just build something that will type thing. You know.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, they whether or not you believe it or not, right, the fact is that, and that's why I was trying to get across that Julian Huxley, the guy who invented UNESCO, is the same guy who is a descendant of the Darwin family, and he created this word transhumanism, because he's talking about ideas of evolution, machines, human beings, technology, and Darwinism and eugenics, all of those. you know he,
Ooh, wow.
Yeah,
he runs the gamut of all. Yeah.
what's interesting about that? I was thinking about it, it's like I wrote down this quote from this person. It says, "The English philosopher Darwin created an entire system according to which life is a struggle for existence, a struggle of strong against the weak, where those who are conquered are doomed to destruction, and the conqueror are triumphant. This is already the beginning of a bestial philosophy." So, uh,
Yeah.
it's funny that it's like we're evolving, but what are we evolving into? It's
Yeah,
almost
that's
a
what. Yeah.
mutation.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I said neo-primitivism. Right. That
Mhm.
it's a return to nature. Right. That the concept of evolution has built in return to nature. Right. So it's fascinating how that works out. Right. That
Turn into Smeagol's, the precious being technology.
That's
yeah.
fast in the way right there. That's in the making.
Yeah. And goes back to that statement. The meek shall inherit the earth. What is the meek? Well, it's the trees, right? That's why I say, it's the Iron Age. The merger of man with iron. That man is going to be combined with the base element. That is the final phase, right? That the highest, you know, thing through reason, reason could sublimate itself into technique, and technique could conquer over the human. That we get conquered and ruled by our own creations, our own creativity, in fact. All right. And yeah, obviously, right, it's in all of the types of, horror stories, Sorcerer's Apprentice style theme, right? But yeah, right,
Becoming God without God.
yeah, yeah, essentially, all right. Um, yeah, and yeah, let's go to this. It says this idea of not trying to seek immortality, not trying to defy um you know um not prolonging life essentially, but essentially just avoiding death. All right. So this is more in line with this idea that I was talking about earlier, Wu Wei, right? But he says there's another common assumption that needs examination ever since the Book of Changes, right? as well as the Lao Tzu, there has been no lack of interpreters who found affinity between the two works. But it seems to me that this assumption is mistaken. He says, elsewhere, I've argued that the interpretation of the theory of change as cyclic is more appropriate to the Book of Changes than to the Lao Tzu. Here, I wish only to call attention to the yin and the yang, the central concepts in the Book of Changes and the basis for the process of cyclic change. In the Lao Tzu, the yin and yang appear only once in the section 94, which has been quoted above. This is perhaps related to another passage. When carrying on your head your perplexing bodily soul, can you embrace in your arms the one and not let go? If this is so, section 94 belongs to the same group as section 24, which, as we just seen, represents the school. Here, hold on. The school given to practices conducive to prolonging of life, a tradition quite different from the main part of Lao Tzu. This may be speculation, but the fact remains that the yin and yang appear once and only once, only in the whole of Lao Tzu, and there is no reason to suppose that they occupy an important place in the thought of the whole work. He says, as in our view, the Lao Tzu is an anthology. It is a matter of some interest and importance that we should try to identify some of the views of some of the thinkers of the Warring States period. Okay, and he talks about the egoists, right? He talks about Quan Tzu, and he says that Lao Tzu, like Quan Tzu, basically replaces the concept of heaven with the concept of Tao, which is an interesting move. Right? He says, in the opinion of modern scholars and the works of Sun King and Yin Wen, who figured among scholars gathered in the state of Qi, again, according to another thinker, the key concept in the teaching of the legendary keeper of the past is limpidity. Okay, which is similar to submissiveness in the Tian. The chapter of the in the Shang Tzu in the account, right? Right, the former is quoted as saying, presumably in connection with the sage, quote, there is nothing inflexible in him. And so things show themselves up clearly. Okay, so this is this idea of, becoming like water, softening the glare, you know what I mean? Engaging things through stillness, right? Not giving things names, right? Which is Wu Ming, a concept that's, similar to Wu Wei, right? So non-definition and non-action, right?
Yeah, to define is to cut, or to just the etymology, divide, div.
Yeah. And nothing in nature is divided, right? Obviously, everything is you know, connected, but it's not connected through movement, it's connected through stillness, right? And if you try to observe, right, then you have to actually cut off the connection of all things in order to observe an isolated moment, right? You have to cut it off from almost all of existence in order to observe it, right? So the fact is that there is no observable. Once you actually create a subdivision of time within a moment and try to observe that moment of time, right? Then you could create infinite divisions within that moment. You know what I mean, right? There's actually, um, you know, any finite boundary has infinite divisions within it, right? Just as, right? Um, you know, there's so in other words, knowledge itself is infinite, right? So you have to, um, essentially choose what you want to know, right? So this is this whole concept of knowledge and desire being linked, and right now there's infinity, you know, there's infinity in the plenitude of information that's there, right? But there's also oneness in the relation between things, right? So, right? And this concept of yin and yang is more like a concept of, you know, play and fighting, right? It's more like, you know, um, that than it is, where it's, you know, drawn out in human terms. Anyways, let's let me move on a little bit here. Right, this idea of inflexibility, I kind of went on and on. Right, there's nothing inflexible in him, so things show themselves up clearly. In his movement, he is like water. Okay, that brings it full circle. In his stillness, he is like a mirror. That brings it full circle. In his response, he is like an echo. Indistinct, he seems shadowy, silent. Okay. He never leads but follows behind others. Here, besides limpidity, there are other concepts, many which, like water, stillness, and distinct, shadowy, to follow and not to lead, are to be found in the Lao Tzu. Okay, it says the shepherd leads by following, right? Okay, it says Liu Tzu, who was a nebulous figure, as Lao Tzu was said to have advocated emptiness. Okay, emptiness, very much close to this concept of stillness, right? The most fascinating case is Shantou, okay, who not only figured um, at the that he was prominent in the Warring States period as Shang Tzu and Lao Tzu. Right? He is said in the chapter of the Shang Tzu to discard wisdom, to laugh at the empire for honoring men of worth, to consider wrong great sages of the empire. He is quoted as saying the highest thing we can hope to emulate is the insensate. Men of worth, sages, serve no useful purpose. Okay. Okay, this is why it says, I think it says in a passage, discard cleverness and renounce wisdom, and everyone will benefit like 1,000-fold. Right? Right?
Yeah, there's a quote from an Optina elder. He says, with cleverness, there's no angels. With something like simplicity, there's 1,000 angels or something like that. So very similar concept.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And I think you know, it's on the tip of my tongue, but there's definitely similar passages in Paul where he talks about, like philosophy and like knowledge and things like that you could just argue forever that it's actually just pointless, right? So like there's a lot of passages where he actually talks about like going to Athens and arguing with the philosophers and talking about like how vain a lot of philosophical disputes are and how like gathering knowledge and stuff is basically about vanity, right? So, right, he makes a lot of points, right, and one could actually do an entire presentation on Paul and his views on knowledge and philosophy, right? Because there's a lot there where he kind of puts an end to a lot of philosophical disputes, right? Right
Yeah.
by yeah, through through sort of dialectical ideas and sort of introducing the paradoxical ideas that are raised when you try to discuss these questions. Right?
Well, what it happens is people use knowledge almost like to become super correct, and then they learn things just to say, "Well, you don't know this." And so it's always becomes this thing where you're kind of gatekeeping knowledge from somebody else, and then you can use it as leverage in an argument. And yeah, that's prideful. It's stupid, and nobody learns anything from it because your opponent's just going to shut down with you. They don't want to hear it, and I'm pretty sure an audience that's viewing a debate doesn't want to hear you just stroking your ego. So I don't know.
Yeah, and one of my favorite passages is where he says that we see now through a mirror darkly, which what we will be seeing clearly then, right? We'll be brought face to face with the truth. So so our knowledge and our philosophy is not gonna have any, right? So like we're seeing all these things through this dark mirror, all right? And that's what Philip K. Dick used in his book in his futuristic dystopian
Scanner
work,
darkly. Yeah.
Scanner Darkly. All right. What I mean? He's borrowing this passage from Paul. You
That's
know,
First Corinthians 13, I think, or is it Second Corinthians 13? I forget.
yeah, I think it's like
That's
13, 12 or something like that. Right?
after talking about charity, as charity being the primary thing to pursue over, prophecies and knowledge and everything. But if you don't have charity, it's useless,
Yeah.
or it gets interpreted as love, charity, love, whatever you want to use.
I got it pulled up if you want to hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 1 Corinthians 13 and 12. It says, "For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then I shall know just as I have known. And now abide." Wait, that ain't it, is it?
That is it. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. And face to
okay.
face, vis a
Faith,
vis.
hope, charity abideth, these three, but the greatest of these is charity.
Yeah, okay. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yep.
It's, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, let me see here. But yeah, you know what I mean? It goes to this idea that, the knowledge, is it is and I think he says be wary of philosophy at some point. I mean, but yeah, I'll have to pull up the
Colossians
passage.
2.
Yeah. Colossians 2, yeah, somewhere in that. Yeah, he sort of
Verse
says,
verse 11, I believe.
yeah. Yeah, would anybody happen to have that? If we could pull that up, that would be
Yeah, I got it right now.
incredible. Yeah.
In him you were also circumcised with the circumcision made without hands, by putting off the body of the sins of the flesh by the circumcision of Christ, buried with him in baptism, in which you were also raised with him through faith in the working of God, who raised him from the dead. That's Colossians 2 and 11 and 12.
It looked like Mama Suli got it. Verse 8 is what I'm thinking of.
Oh, here. Okay, yeah, my bad.
I'm a little off. My
That was
memory's not as
you're
good as it
good,
used to
dude.
be.
Okay, so it says, beware lest anyone cheat you through philosophy and empty deceit, according to the tradition of men, according to the basic principle of the world, and not according to Christ. And what he's usually talking about when he's talking about the traditions of men, he's usually talking about whatever the Pharisees taught, from what I understand. But he means philosophy as well here. So yeah,
That'd be crucifying the mind thing.
right, correct.
Yeah, so, there's similar concepts, about, obviously credulity, skepticism being, quote unquote, stumbling blocks. I mean, for people of, for people to discover real practical truths about the way things work. I mean, but yeah, according to S- uh, Sun Tzu, he was able to see the value of following behind and not the value of taking lead. It is somewhat surprising that all his views that we have mentioned are to be found somewhere in the Lao Tzu. His attack on wisdom, men of worth, and sages is identical with the opening lines of chapter, um, I think this is 29, right? Exterminate the sage, discard the wise, and people will benefit a hundredfold. Um, yeah, actually, I think that's 19. Yeah, I mean, I mean, the opening words of chapter 3: not to honor men of worth will um keep the people from contention. The chapter of not taking the lead is also to be found in a number of passages, some of which we have already quoted in connection to the refutation of the charge of the use of scheming methods. It is found in chapter, shit, what is L in Roman numerals? I don't even fucking know. But yeah, this is
It's 50, isn't it?
yeah. So it's like, what is that? 67. These fucking Roman numerals are fucking terrifying. All right. But yeah, it's like some sort of demon language. But yeah,
It's 50. L is 50. C is 100, I think, and
oh
M is
shit, there's a
1,000.
C too, motherfuckers.
I mean,
All
C for
right.
century. I'm
Yeah, I've
assuming,
never.
but I don't know.
Yeah, with all my encyclopedic knowledge of religion and philosophy, I'm actually have never looked into this Roman numeral shit. All right. But yeah, I have three treasures which I hold and cherish. The third is known as not daring to take the lead in the empire. Um, Not daring to take the lead in the empire, one could afford to be lord over the vessels, not to forsake the following. I mean, right? To lead, sure to end in doomage. Finally, Shantou, insensate Claude, is singularly like the uncarved block, the symbol for freedom from desire, We have said enough to show that passages are to be found in the Lao Tzu, which contain key concepts of various schools of the Warring States period. Okay. Now, you know what I mean? That's obvious, right? That there was so many different, you know, competing philosophies, right? And and that's kind of the greater point here too, right? Is that in the development of Chinese thought, right? You know, and you'll see this all over the place, right? You'll see Taoist and Buddhist traditions merged, right, today, right? You know, to where, you know, you don't really know where the Buddhist or the Taoist or the Confucian element within the tradition really starts, right? Once you start going to places in Japan or Korea or Taiwan or any of these other countries, right, that have been sort of influenced by a lot of these traditions, right, that spread out from China, right? So, you know, and they have various expressions when they merge with the indigenous cultural traditions within those places, right? For example, the Bon shamanism merge with Buddhism to create the Tibetan Buddhist tradition, right? And this happened way after, you know, the 11th century. You know what I'm saying, right? So the fact is that this stuff happened, you know, way closer to our time than we would think it happened. I mean, right? And so the fact is that, you know, that's why when you're looking at Taoism, it's critiquing Confucianism and legalism and egoism and all of these philosophers at the time. And you know, when we go to Shang Tzu, he's critiquing all of the philosophers hitherto, you know, right, including Meng Zi and all these people. You know, you know, and of course the Zen Buddhists. I mean, they were totally against like making like golden statues and shit like that. You know, they openly critiqued such behavior. They said such behavior is anti-Buddhist and anti-Taoist, right? So they didn't care for like creating gold statues and shit. They said no, you got to go to the mountains, like meditate and like grow tea and shit in the mountains because it grow. You know, you grow really strong tea, so you can stay up and meditate. Yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah, yeah. You know,
It's like Super Saiyan mode or something.
yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah, they
I
didn't
feel
care
like
about.
that sometimes, like just sitting, like drinking coffee all night, like
Yeah,
geeked out, reading something about philosophy or something.
yeah.
Yep.
They certainly didn't care about like venerating the master. You know, that sort of thing didn't matter. Didn't matter. Right?
We are powerful little monkeys. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was like this one story where like this dude wanted to like reach enlightenment and like the master like took off his slipper and like smacked him in the head. Like he finally like reached enlightenment. It's like the story. Right. You know, you
Hey, you
know,
know Henry Miller, Henry
no,
Valentine Miller.
no.
Well, he told a story about a monk, right? And like this guy was at a monastery for like 40 years, a Buddhist monk, and like he couldn't reach enlightenment. So in the middle of the night, he's like, "I'm over this, you know. I've tried to reach enlightenment. I can't reach enlightenment." And he finally, after all this time, like goes into the city and meets like a geisha. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, you know, he's like been an ascetic this whole time. So like the whole experience is like he can hear like the rope drop, dude. You know what I mean? Like his senses are like fine tuned, dude. And like I think it's Japanese or whatever, but they call him the master of fuck or something. It's crazy. Because he reached enlightenment in that moment. I'm just saying.
you know the one are singing or Hindu.
There's something going on with your audio, dude.
Oh,
It's kind of humming.
sorry.
Yeah, sometimes it sounded weird. It's like some type of magnetic interference. So yeah, it's kind of strange.
All right, I'll try to figure that out before next time. Thanks for
Yeah, it's
having.
fine right now, but yeah, do you want to repeat what you were saying?
Oh, it's working now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it's so the one dude, the one dude. He wanted to. He didn't want to reach enlightenment, but he wanted to. I think he wanted immortality, but anyway, he climbed a mountain, stood on a mountain on like one leg for 100 years or something. Finally, he got the attention of the divines, and they're like, "All right, what do you want, dude?" He's like, I want immortality, man. You heard this one? Anyway, he gets it. He's an asshole. He runs around doing bad shit. And his little boy, he's like, whatever, more or less. He's like, where's your God now? And he's like, he's everywhere. And he's like, is he in this pillar? And like kicks, Super Saiyan kicks it down. And then the multi-armed lion god pops out of it, and he grabs the man and is ripping his guts out for eternity in front of the child, who is his son. Not for the kid doesn't have to watch it. He leaves, but he didn't get enlightenment. He got something else. That's all.
That's wild.
Yeah. I mean, and there's tons of stories like that where, you know, the search for enlightenment either goes wrong, goes haywire, or gets fulfilled through means that the person did not expect. I mean,
So be careful of what you wish for.
exactly that type of thing. That spiritual torture is worse than I mean the regular sort of torture. You know, it's a higher order. I mean, right? And that's the thing is that you know the philosophical hell, and the you know physical scientific hell is nowhere near the spiritual hell. All right, it's imagined tortures that are far beyond. All right, I mean, anything we could surmise here. I mean, right on our earthly plane of imagination. I mean, let's just put it that way. And yeah, here it says, firstly, we know far too little about these early schools whose representative works are no longer extant. Secondly, from the key concepts associated with these schools, one gets the impression that very often there is more difference between them in terminology than in substance, does not valuing the submissive or valuing the empty or avoiding the lead amount to the same thing. May it not be the case that some of these schools very much alike, but each had to put a different quote unquote slogan in order to justify the claim to be an independent school, since in the Warring State period so much was to be gained by such a claim. If this is so, there is perhaps much to say for looking upon all schools represented in the Lao Tzu as coming under a general description of Taoism, as the historian certainly did. Whatever the truth of the matter, with the scanty material at our disposal, we cannot hope to sort out what pertains to different schools, though the little we can do is reinforce our conviction that Lao Tzu is an anthology. Um, he says, and yeah, there's a little more he says here. I'm just gonna read this, and then tomorrow we're gonna look at Jacob Needleman. His introduction that's totally whack, right? I think his introduction is completely whack, right? And we're gonna look at the problems of that, and yeah, we'll look at a another introduction to the um second century text, right? And then we'll read the second century text and the popular translations, and then we'll move on to some of the more scholarly translations, and we'll do that around as I said, we'll do that on Christmas, right? We have a lot more Elul and Kaczynski as well, so we're going to be looking at that as well.
Word, word.
Yeah, but to put a little ending to this intro here, and and I think he's done some interesting stuff here. Although I think his translation is, there's a lot wrong with DC Lao's translation, and there's a few things, that we mentioned here that were totally unjustified in his critique. I mean, that I saw. I mean,
Right.
you know, and yeah, but this is his last few things he talks about in the translation. Um, yeah, he's talking about his translation, and he says more than half of the text consists in rhyming passages, which are most probably of an earlier date. It seems desirable to separate them from the prose parts. So that's interesting. All right. But anyways,
He's rhyming to boot. Damn.
yeah, and you could see that in some of the Lao Tzu. So yeah. So yeah, anyways. Yeah, it's poetic, beautiful work, and it discusses many ideas and concepts. But yeah, I'm gonna go around this panel and let everybody have some type of closing statement here. I mean, we have blessings. Yeah, are you still with us, Hank? I mean, you've been kind of silent, but yeah.
Ground control to Hank.
Yeah, Earth's to Flamio. But yeah, blessings. This is one of our greatest interlocutors on the show. You know what I mean? Hanko Flamio. I mean, so yeah, man, blessings to the brother. You know what I mean? He's brought the heat on lots of topics in philosophy, and I'm, you know, kind of excited to have him out here tomorrow. When we start the show. So definitely, we'll be sending Hank a link. To see if he can come and comment on some of these ideas of technology. He was killing it earlier in the show when he was commenting on some of those ideas in Elul. So yeah, blessings, Hank, man. You have a beautiful night. You know what I mean? I think he's asleep here. You know what I mean? But yeah, thank you so much, Hank, for being here. Yeah, what about all you guys? Blessings.
Blessings. Be restful, Hank. Have a great night.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Said something about the rhyming. I think maybe he made it rhyme because you'd forget it rhyme. And good night. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, for
well,
sure. Thank you.
thanks for having me as always, man. It was cool to get into some of this stuff.
Yeah, definitely. And this is just an introduction to tomorrow's show. So yeah, tomorrow definitely we'll be talking a lot about technology and different ideas. We just getting started on Elul talking about reason and efficiency. As I was outlining there. So we're gonna get into his idea that there's different types of technique and we're gonna break down the different types of technique finally through the definition that he offered of technique as the ensemble of means, and then we're gonna also talk about um, Dr. Kaczynski's ideas about why, A, the system can't be reformed, and B, why he thinks that a revolution against the technological system, which is not a revolution against a political system or against a religious way of life or anything like that, right? But it's for the first time, it's a non human you know what I mean type it's an attack against a non-human system, right, that is used by the humans, right? So it doesn't have to harm a single human in the process. So it's a unique sort of a revolutionary movement. It's a revolutionary movement against the system itself, against the technological and economic basis for society, and not the political or cultural basis, right, for society. So it's a unique sort of revolution indeed, but but it's a revolution against the technological system. He thinks that that is a good project, and that that will succeed. But he thinks that reforming the technological system is basically impossible. So he's laid out reasons why he thinks about that. So yeah, you know what I mean? So
Cool.
yeah, blessings.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this before I go.
Yeah,
Uh, I think that people should be aware of what the world is trying to do to us, and what media is trying to do, and the propaganda is going on, and like not be too cynical to say like there might be some conspiracy behind things. Of course, not to go overboard with it, like try to be as balanced as possible, but um, there's definitely people out there with some nefarious agendas, and they want to control people's minds to a certain degree so they can get them where they want them. I don't know if that makes any sense, but thanks for having me as always, and I hope you have a good night, brother.
yeah, definitely. I hope you have a good night too, my friend. Blessings, sir.
Bless. Later.
Yeah, later. Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. The idea he's talking about is crazy because, you know, it's like this idea that they say, well, they're spraying things in the air, and the people are doing this, and common responses is that, well, they live down here too, so aren't they poisoning themselves? What would be the point of doing that? And the fact is that the people who believe that this is logical are doing it because of ideological reasons, right? So they don't need to presuppose who benefits you know what I mean, right, from their decisions to do this, right? So the fact is that once you have a idea, or once you have the technological capacity, right? A lot of times, what people want and need and all that type of stuff becomes secondary to the plot of what needs to be justified in order to maintain the present level of civilization, right? That we're all used to, right? But yeah, I mean, I get what everybody's saying, right, with their critiques. But yeah,
Yeah, I just wanted to share some appreciation before I leave, and this
for
was a
sure, dude.
little bit of a surprise stream, and it was nice to walk around with my little nephew and just kind of like check into like my own family system and ecosystem in here, and kind of it's interesting. Like there's a lot of common themes being discussed about here that now that I was like, all right, how am I going to anchor this today, and how am I going to bring this forth to the other beings that I cohabitate with, right? Habitate with, and I realized it's like it's a beautiful thing you said. It's like to kind of like almost distinguish and make clear what is technological and or techniques that are kind of like overlays to how I can communicate with the people around me to support us in hopefully the facilitation of knowledge, and not
Oh snap! You kind of cut off there.
I don't know what's up with the Wi-Fi here, but yeah,
Yeah, it's
just
okay. You just cut off for like the last 10 seconds. Yeah.
gratitude. I'll just leave it at that. And yeah, I'm ready to continue with a little. I wish there was more hours in the daylight, but I'm not gonna push the clock right now with my own clock and agenda, and just kind of check in tomorrow as well when you're reading. So peace to
Yeah,
you, Mel. Thank you.
definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we're about on page 20 of yeah, the the translation there, with the introduction by Merton, and the translation by John Wilkinson is a translator. But yeah, blessings. I mean, yeah, thank you so much, Michael. I mean, right? Yeah, yeah. You have a blessed night, and I'll definitely send you a link tomorrow. Blessings.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. Have a good night. Peace.
Yeah, for sure.
Easy.
Yeah, Red, what you got to say to these people?
Like I was thinking about earlier, is that man can be a different order of idolatry, whereas everything else is presumably exterior to yourself. And that's kind of the that's kind of the thing, is like it's so easy. It's a fine line between idolizing yourself and just knowing yourself. I don't think there's anything wrong with knowing yourself, especially cut through all the lies and the bullshit and the agendas that are being foisted upon us. But at the same time, we can't go to the other extreme and worship ourselves as that, we're basically God. And I don't even want to be a God. I mean, so, that maybe that's prideful to say or something, but it's not something I would sign up for a job opportunity. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's real talk. I mean, with great power comes great responsibilities. I mean, and maybe that, and I don't think that knowledge is power, and time is definitely not money. I mean, so,
Maybe certain knowledge might lead to power, but if knowledge is infinite, like you're saying, then most of it's not going to lead to power.
yeah, yeah, and here's another thing: freedom is not technique, right? So, one could quickly assess how freedom constrains. I mean, not freedom constraint. Freedom itself, can constrain. Excessive liberty is excess of slavery, to quote Plato, right? But the fact is that technique constrains, right? But it is the sublimation of freedom through technique that we are trying to, you know, subtly define here.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how it relates to these two concepts that I was outlining earlier. Uh, you know, um, Isolation through the externalization of means, and you know, um, this whole idea of over socialization, and the fact that we're sort of you know I guess what you could say, forced socialization through technological means. So these are processes that definitely we're trying to discuss here.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, and that goes to looking at the not taking the means that we're employing to communicate for granted, right? We want to assess the means we use to communicate and their, the entire efficacy of the means of, or why are we, pretending that we're critical and not asking these questions, taking the means we employ for granted, but questioning everything else under the sun and acting like we're deep thinkers. So there's all this pretend shit going on. Let's see if Hank is actually here. Blessings, Hank. Right. Hank, are you here? Well, yeah, we'll have another show tomorrow, and we'll figure out what's going on. But yeah, I'll throw you in the back here, Red. Blessings,
Easy.
Yeah, and I'll play some music here for you guys to end the show. Video music compilations as I've been perfecting, through these technological means. So yeah, blessings, guys. The first step to seeing beyond the programming is to realize how you've been programmed, and the first step to blinding somebody is getting them to open their eyes. And of course, this is the machine lies. And we talk here about the lies of the machine on the machine that lies, the idea of mediation, right, through technological means, right? And the whole idea is about thinking, right? Obviously, thinking cannot solve the problems that thinking has created, right? And obviously, you have to think for yourself, right? You have to realize, right, the limitations of your own thoughts and ideas, right? Okay. And yeah, you know what I mean? Question everything. You know what I mean? And yeah, you know what I mean? The whole thing is that don't ask why if you know it's wrong, right? Whatever comes up comes out. I mean, say what you can now before it's too late. You know what I'm saying? And that's why we're here, to communicate with you guys. I mean, and a lot of the concepts and themes we employ have been original concepts and themes, right? To get people to think about different ways. And of course we highlight different philosophies and items, right? Okay? So that we can curate information, right? And what you'll notice here is that we curate information at a rate that is much different, right, than any of the other type of platforms out here, because they refuse to discuss, or they refuse to be aware of the means we use, right, to transmit the information, right? I think a lengthy discussion has to be done about that so that we could be honest, right? Communicators, right? So yeah, I hope you'll have clarity to see through the lies. I mean, but yeah, blessings. I mean, thank you guys for being here. I'm gonna play some of this music I have. Thank you guys. Okay. 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 Peace be with you, my friends.
Executive order 11002. The reason to know me, but I don't know you. You really wanna know what crime is? Let me show you. Keep Keeping in mind, this is just one point of view. Drama is living in a third world country, fucked up and hungry without no money. Drama is trying to adjust to the circumstance, missing more than one leg or more than one hand. Drama is being chased off your land by a funny looking man in a suit that works for the bank. Drama is what's happening to the ecosystem and the animals it feeds. It damage the trees, the rainforests that get destroyed annually. Damn, it's just me who cares about the air that we breathe. Drama is the nuclear threat that we live with. One bomb and everybody's dead, that's some sick shit. Drama is HIV statistics, the affected person that you might have sex with.
Yeah, and I apologize for not dropping. For not pinning the link up there. But we will have an open panel tomorrow. 9:30 p.m. Eastern. So yeah, thank you guys. Bless them.
Life goes on, but drama is living with the afterthought that maybe could have prevented it. Drama is imminent, comes in other forms. The sick pedophiles who support child porn. Never mind the offenders. Think about what the victims go through, what the fuck they gotta live with. Drama is the prince of population. Some belong there, but also some belong. Executive Order 11002. The reason you know me, but I don't know you. You really wanna know what drama is? Let me show you. Keeping in mind, this is just one point of view. Drama is living in a third world country, fucked up and hungry without no money. Drama is trying to adjust to the circumstance, missing more than one leg or more than one hand. Drama is being chased off your land by a funny looking man in a suit that works for the bank. Drama is what's happening to the ecosystem and the animals it feeds. It damage the trees, the rainforests that get destroyed annually. Damn, it's just me who cares about the air that we breathe. Drama is the nuclear threat that we live with. One bomb and everybody's dead, that's some sick shit. Drama is HIV statistics, the affected person that you might have sex with. Life goes on, but drama is living with the afterthought that maybe could have prevented it. Drama is imminent, comes in other forms. The sick pedophiles who support child porn. Never mind the offenders, think about what the victims go through, what the fuck they gotta live with. Drama is the prince of population. Some belong there, but also some belong on probation. Drama is not being able to change one thing, cause the system you live in says you ain't shit. Drama is corporate scandal. Drama is a handful of COs playing you for the dead fool. Drama is being a millionaire, but you gotta recoup half the budget from your 10% share. Drama is having one too many women, even though you always need to spare one swimming. Drama is dealing with your jealous impulses, learning how to hold it all in with no emotion. Drama is blind devotion. Drama is having your deepest secrets exposed in the open. Drama is having your heart broken, and the person who broke it doesn't even motherfucking notice. Drama is trying to carry the burden all by yourself on your shoulders, and it don't exist. Drama is being falsely accused. Drama is the latest news. Drama is what gives people clues. Drama is a tool you can use to distract the enemy so they can never improve. Drama is fear of devils and fear of God. Drama is a long, hard tech support death job. Drama is the life of an up-and-coming actor, rapper, athlete, or building contractor. Drama is a rookie cop calling for backup. Three-strike perpetrator that's gang tatted up. Drama is the spin zone of a politician. Drama is K-Solo when he said the rhyme did it. Drama is the struggle of change. Drama is inevitable. There is no other way. Drama is what drains life force out of you. Drama is negative, but drama can empower you. Drama is love. Drama is pain. Drama exists in everything, every day. Drama is the yin. Drama is the yang. Drama is the innate nature of man. Drama contracts. Drama expands. Gangster. I could tell you work for Uber Eats, cause the car that you drove was too fucking slow, and I don't want my food to get cold. Rappers be rapping, turn kinetic to quadratic, live lavish, keep receipts, write it off on them taxes. Talk about the great reset.
They bird chest speaking threats, they couldn't get their beaks wet in the deep end. Read the tea leaves, sweet dreams, sweet pea. And which way does the razor wire lean? How about a barbar's egg, half a dozen to a tray? Interior decor designed by De Gournay, that's a tall order. Naughty neighbors at the short table. I beg your pardon, could you pass me the salt shaker? The earthquakes will be here before May. We should petition the creator for an escape ahead of my time, cause they ain't never seen what I rap. They wouldn't believe we already collapsed. Facts. A warm rag for a filthy prostitute bath. I bet you there's no vaccine for that. I was exposed to this so early, I'm quiet about it. The way I see it, ain't no need to start a riot about it. I saw it and caught it and wasn't applauded. I should've never started. We were divided first, then conquered. It's like a jungle sometimes, it makes me wonder how I got so fucked up. Now I don't trust nothing.
Scary and real, like bunch of Avatar gangster. Barely in fights, bunch of Avatar gangster.
Bro banging from his keyboard. You should see the screech more. You should keep the G more. He just pressing record.
Scary and real, like bunch of Avatar gangster. Barely in fights, bunch of Avatar gangster.
Made soldier, the gauge holder with payola. The weed coming more colors than Crayola. You a troll, you an internet op. You was listening to New Kids on the Block. I'm with a few niggas, straight and stop. Raising the Glock, bare arms like Doc Octopus. Virtual concerts of VR and the Oculus. Buying property in Earthia, I own everything. Man and machine merge the singularity. You will never be a celebrity. You embarrass me, you a parody. You a charity, you need therapy. Clout chaser who scarily believe his own hype. Trying to suck your own cock, Ron Jeremy. Pay me in crypto, pay me in Mithril. They told me hold on and I did so. Shot my nigga Big Boy, this his idea. And I be stomping in my clear weather brand footwear. Yeah, Web 3.0 flow. Fuck this industry. AI Drake voice, pick your identity. Nigga, non-believers in the mega church. Allow me to introduce you to Mars. Now you metaverse, in the metaverse. In verses, reverse course, I spit a better verse. Gifted unlimited rhymes, universal from a multiverse of earths. That's a guru search. Creole bitch, that's a voodoo curse. Niggas beef on IG Live with their location showing. And die tasting their own face, showcases blowing.
Scary and real, like bunch of Avatar gangster. Barely in fights, bunch of
Synchronicity split my body multiplicity. You blink, I think with synchronicity, split my body multiplicity shit. 15 places at the same time, speaking the gospel. The optical illusion or obstacle, the institution of impossible word, resuscitation and execution.
Electrocution, emergency broadcast beacon, reaching, expand the bandwidth, stand beyond the abandoned sarcophagus. Brimstone poem in the esophagus of the dragon breathing apocalypse.
Spit out shit, get incredible responses from these unearthly creatures and androgynistic monsters. Haunster every move.
Pattern, exercise, no discretion when pressing the boundaries. Surround the beat like street lights on nights with mics and lateral battle moves. To all crews, MCs, freeze.
What am I? 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 What am I?
The acapella block rocker shocker off the top of the roof fly MC entity.
Me proceed and sway fragment images enhanced by system of arc compulsions transcript transparent as captivity caged by MCs by flock of thousands pecking at sand.
The super soaker vein choker poker face straight hatred stay red dead cloud brought back to life Mike Majestic untested destined to rest amongst the best of the system solar North Polar control of the mic MC the pattern laser.
Reverse release quick kick back impact cave and crush on contact knock out your contacts when they come back core combaticons cause their wreckage crumble and carnage carnivorous to calm anti the pop that apply sauce and charm.
The to the break of your neck MC with the impact of a wrecking ball to the back of the head black rock or rap don't look back times two high score on Galaxian axiom tracks become one of many collision precision incision within your skull case.
Next twist turn off selected words Earl Blade double effects you triple take flexing nerves revenge of the nerd seen in blurs only the sound of words blur now you remember when men get dismembered. What can I say about MCs? What couldn't I say about MCs? Every heart-turning insult will be looked as praise for their demise. The bastard obvious life. Look at everyone hide their celebration by sipping tears from raised champagne glasses. I hope they are buried so deep, even the worms and the maggots couldn't breathe.
What am I? 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 What am I?
I'm gonna fight for prestige, not for me.
So now we come to another interesting episode. In the last few years, there's been a great deal of emphasis upon extraterrestrials visiting our planet.
Hey yo, these motherfuckers bugging if they think I hang it up. Pass the mic in my direction and I straight up ate it up. Really got the guns I talk about, I wouldn't make it up. Ultra Mag 4 horsemen, I'm about to raise it up. Till I'm Cool Keith crazy with voices that tell me shit. Trigger fingers extended like E.T. with Elliot. You get your belly hit, it's shaking like ballistic gel. This is hell, bodies getting dropped like pennies inside a wishing well. Pennywise, fingers with Freddy knives and chainsaws. Put you in a coma, make your brain pause. This is why we break jaws. Singing Judas Priest while we break laws. Rock and break beats since Easy Eve sold 8 balls. I travel through space now and lay foes face down. Cause Zap is real, battlefields feel just like playgrounds. These little double time yappity yap rappers, I rapidly smack backwards the battery packs fraction. We in the same place, occupy the same space. Rooftops shattering glass in your Apple Watch. Appernocks rocking like Axl Rose and Acid Watch. Astronauts blasting off, laughing while rappers watch in disbelief. This is beef, problems you never wanted. My raps killing tired crowds and leave your whole town haunted. And while you rocking man buns, I'm cocking handguns. Sticking you for paper, I'll pass down to my grandsons. Fans run when apples on the stage, I'm metamorphing into a demogorgon. I give your head an abortion. I'll leave your brain in the dumpster, the brave of the dumber. Cause some brazen motherfucker about to get his brains braided this summer. Since Biggie was unbelievable, I was similar. A similar sentences like defenses established around perimeters. You outgun, outshine, must be out your mind. Raps is putrid, app is stupid, slap the fluid out your spine. Spit divine scripture, rhyme sicker than polio. I'm Godzilla in Tokyo, dick's big as a totem pole. Got inhuman capabilities, kinda like Opio. Grabbing bulls by the horn, this ain't my first rodeo. Yo. Occupy the same space. So get the fuck out my face.
Flash 3 times.
I got that ancient technology. I keep that alien weaponry on me. Wanted to be anybody else. I keep that alien weaponry. I got that ancient technology. I keep that alien
not see. What them not see, I come with Selassie. Bloody up in white sheets until they're soggy. For your posse, your blood clot mugshot looking frosty. I thought I told y'all cats keep your fucking eyes off me. Y'all cats acting like you thought too much was a softie. Watch out jumping cross the street, cause they double cross me. I mashed before they lost me. My presence is priceless, just costly. Your whole fucking squad needs some coffee. Y'all feeling better, making it a point to hog me and dog me. Y'all cats acting like you discard me, yeah, hardly. Judge your children, they not to starve me, I'm sorry. Judge your love, I like I love Marley. I see John the Baptist and Garvey. It's time to work, this work is play, I play in party. Lama woman always has access, so don't call me. I grab the gold medal, so rub it down foot and on. Bloody up them white sheets, stained white sheet. Get your ass up, boy, sit you in my seat. I say, why recycle white trash when they the reason that we sidetrack? Let sun melt to no ice cap, taking our life back and present the sun who gonna strike black. Lying at Judah, making your mic scat. Give me that mic back. I know y'all listening closely because my mic's tagged. Riding the rhythm like I was I-hat. Murder the sound boy who wanna sabotage my death. Fuck where you from, this is where I'm at. 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 And I'm fair to be.
Protocol flux quicker than air ducts projectiles, and torn between theologies of atheists and Gentile. Yeah, torn between politics and conservative and anarchists. Torn between killing with a mail bomb or just my bare fist. Who fucks around? Absolutely not me. I fuck up and down. I learned it from a porn flick, within trees. 50 years later, everybody wanna hold hands with Hitler. My war tribunal cut off his dick with a fucking slogan. Mass distraction. Attention span expander. Corrupt rub to verbalize word for word. And 50 years later, everybody wanna hold hands with Hitler. Protocol flux quicker than air ducts projectiles. And torn between theologies and atheists and Gentile. Yeah, torn between politics and conservative and anarchists. Who fucks around? Absolutely not me. I fuck up and down. I learned it from a porn flick, pushing trees.